Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your host, Adam Perez. We are back with a brand new live episode to kick off the new year of APlus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news. Streaming live for you guys today. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, back once again with our co-host, Stuart Branscombe. Guys, we got some honorable mentions for you guys, 6 incredible topics, and of course, at the end of the show, your live viewer questions. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and we'll see you guys on the other side. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of APlus Hero Report. It is good to be back after the new year. It is good to see you, Stuart. How was your holidays, Christmas, New Year's? How did it all go down for you, man? Are you feeling pretty good after the new year?
Oh man, busy, but yeah, I gotta be honest. This is kind of one of those rare years where I'm just kind of glad that the holidays are over now. Because yeah, as you know, I was doing jury duty a little bit before
Yeah.
the holidays really started, and uh we got done. I want to say like on the 21st or 22nd. So I ended up going back to work, and man, I wish I lied to my boss and said that jury duty was going on throughout all the holidays, because man, working at a theater during the holidays, especially just because we just didn't have like a lot of people basically working at the theater. A lot of people had requested
Oh,
time
yeah.
off, obviously, to spend time with their
Yeah.
families. But it was one of those things where we had like just nowhere near enough the staff that we needed for like just the type of holiday rush it was. So it was a pain. Basically, it was just not the most fun, but it's over. I got some holiday pay from Christmas, so that was pretty nice. And yeah, it's and luckily for me, I got to enjoy my favorite of the hall. Well, I guess kind of Christmas is my favorite, but a close second, of course, would be like New Year's. So I'm glad
Nice.
I got to at least enjoy that, because even though I worked New Year's Eve, I was off at like 6 o'clock, so I got to like actually celebrate New Year's at midnight. And then I got to do my traditional New Year's thing, which is very simple, but I love having a cigar and a smoky
Yeah.
whiskey every New Year's Day. That has been my tradition. The two New Year's traditions I have is on New Year's Eve, I always rewatch the pilot for Futurama, and then I always have a cigar and whiskey on New Year's Day.
I love it. Yeah, I think I saw you. I think I saw a picture of you on Instagram. I think it was Instagram of you with the cigar and whiskey. And I was like, man, he's living the life today. He's having a great New Year's. That's awesome. It looked amazing, dude. Yeah, I guess the movie theaters would be busy, especially around this time of the year. I went and saw Avatar: Fire and Ash on Christmas, which I thought it was a great movie. And then what else did I see? I think it might have been just before New Year's, like around my birthday. I went and saw Song Sung Blue with Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, another great movie. I think Hugh Jackman probably should get nominated for an Oscar on that one. I still haven't seen Marty Supreme. It's on my list. I'm hoping maybe I can knock it out sometime this week. I really wanted to see it before Monday, just because we're supposed to be doing our top 5 of 2025, and that's like the last movie that I've wanted to
Yeah.
see this year, and I'm probably not going to be able to make it in time. Um, but um, but yeah, I can imagine the movie theaters were quite busy. They had some pretty good movies in theaters right now.
Definitely. I mean, it's the time of year where you get like a lot of families that don't necessarily want to talk to each other, but they feel obligated to spend time together. And so the perfect solution is going to a movie. But yeah, you mentioned Avatar though, because I haven't seen it yet. But how would you rank it compared to the other two?
I still like Avatar 1 up there, but this is a close second for me. I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it way better than the Way of Water. There's something about seeing the Sullys handle their grief after the Way of Water that's pretty compelling to me. The family dynamic that it kind of changes. Um, how some of the characters handle things. And they introduced a brand new character in Varang from the Ash clan, like the female avatar. Bro, like she every scene that she's in is amazing. Like I've never seen an Avatar character like capture my attention the way that Varang does, along with just the Ash Clan. The theme for whenever the Ash Clan hits the scene is like, you know, shit's about to go down. Like shit immediately gets serious. But their inclusion to this just heightens the stakes, I think, so much more than something that we wind up getting from The Way of Water that I certainly wasn't expecting. So if this ends up being like the last Avatar movie, I'm okay with it. But honestly, after seeing this, I'm like, I still kind of want to live in this world a little bit more. And we'll talk a little bit more about Avatar 4 and 5 later on today. But for me, it was the second best of the three, and it for me it easily separated itself from The Way of Water. I thought this was a great culmination.
Sweet. I'm definitely excited because, yeah, like you, I also really want to see Marty Supreme. And then I also got to see No Other Choice because I absolutely love that director.
No Other Choice? Who's what's that about?
I actually don't know the plot of it, but it's the Korean film and it's made by the same guy that did, I believe it's the same director that did Old Boy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, hang on.
I like that.
Let me just real quick see if I can find the plot synopsis. Here we go. After stupid ad. Here we go. So after being unemployed for several years, a man devises a unique plan to secure a new job and eliminate his competition. So pretty simple plot, but
Okay.
yeah. Park Chan-wook, that's his name, the director.
If he's an Old Boy director, the idea of eliminating his competition, I'm kind of curious as to how he's gonna go about doing something like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peg C in the chat. He said, I saw the Stranger Things finale. I was blown away. Speaking of things I saw in theater, I saw the Stranger Things on New Year's Day in
Ooh.
theaters, and it was an experience, bro. It was an experience. I absolutely loved it. It reminded me of my time of seeing the finale of Lost on the big screen. Me and the girlfriend after New Year's, we literally stayed up till like 3 o'clock in the morning. We forced ourselves to stay up till like 3 in the morning watching the finale for Stranger Things. And then the next afternoon, I went out and I saw it again, but on the big screen, and it was like even that much better on the big screen. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about Stranger Things here in today's episode. And I think we got two things coming for you tomorrow. Stuart and I will be doing a Stranger Things spoiler review for you guys, maybe around 7 o'clock Central Time. But we'll keep you posted. If anything, I might set up the live stream later on today. So the plan right now is to do a Stranger Things live discussion with you guys and spoiler review for the series finale. If you want to join us, again, we'll be doing that tomorrow evening. And then after that's wrapped up, I think Stuart and I are going to be recording our top 5 movies of 2025. So look forward to that. We also have some new content on the YouTube page also. We did rank our most anticipated movies from 2025 that we talked about last year. So our rankings of how we thought about those movies are currently up on our page. And we also did our most anticipated for 2026. 2026, that's right. Our most anticipated for 2026 is up there as well. So if you want to see what we're looking forward to this year, let us know. We got two zombie movies back to back this month. I believe we have the Daisy Ridley zombie movie that's supposed to be dropping, I think, this week, if it's not already out. And then we got 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I think like on the 19th or something like that or like the 16th or something like that this year. So of this month. So two back-to-back zombie movies in a 2-week time span, guys. So zombie lovers, get out to the theaters.
I hadn't heard of the first one with Daisy Ridley, you said?
Yeah, We Are the Dead, or I can't remember the
Oh,
title.
We Bury the Dead?
We Bury the Dead. Yeah. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty
Okay.
good. So I might check it out. Support Daisy Ridley. I don't think I've seen a Daisy Ridley movie since well, wasn't she in the Murder on the Oriental Express or something like Murder on the Orient Express?
Yeah, she was in that movie.
That might have been like the last Daisy Ridley movie I've seen, honestly.
Yeah, I always remember that, like behind the fake behind the scenes video that was shot during the making of that movie, where it's Josh Gad in her trailer being like, "All right, so in this part of the script, let's just go over some lines. This is the part where you tell me exactly who Ray's parents are, and then."
That's funny.
Yeah. Also, Brenton
Brenton.
Weiss is also in this movie,
Oh,
aka Dick
Nightwing.
Grayson from
That's
Titans. Yeah.
right. Okay, cool. I've been wanting to see what else he's going to be doing. So, all right, awesome. Great casting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Before we get into our honorable mentions, remember, guys, as we go through all of these topics, these are simply our A+ opinions, but we always want to know yours. So please let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. We'll definitely go ahead and bring up your comments to certainly add to our conversations. If you want to help out the channel monetarily, you certainly can. They do have super chats, super images available for your supporting of the channel. That's how we grow. We don't have any sponsors here or anything like that, so we grow organically through you guys. But if you can't help us out monetarily, that's certainly more than fine. I know after the holidays, everything is tight right now. So anything will certainly help in regards to hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, clipping these episodes, sharing these videos. That certainly all does go help to building our channel. So thank you guys. Shout out to Ricky Perez coming through. Saw the second teaser for the Muppet Show special event. It will air on ABC in February, honoring the show's 50th anniversary. Are the Muppets coming back? Are they going to have like an actual series? Do you know?
If they are, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's always cool to have the Muppets pop up. Next Sunday, CBS is going to air the Golden Globe Awards, and all the movies and show winners will be revealed. Yeah, the Golden Globes I always look as like the appetizer course to the Oscars in March. So we'll see how some shows and movies do. Last Friday, Netflix premiere Pokemon Horizons Season 3. Rising Hope, and the franchise is going to celebrate its 30th anniversary in February. God, I'm so old.
Ooh. Wonder if they're going to bring Ash back for that.
Ooh, maybe. 2026 Mario Galaxy movie is going to be in theaters in just 3 months away. When I went to go see Avatar in 3D, they had a 3D trailer for Mario Galaxy and it looked fantastic.
Ooh.
It's finally January. That means that filming for the upcoming Power Rangers reboot is to be held in the UK, just days away, and the cast is ready. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that in a little bit. Ricky. Marcelino, what's up, Marcelino? Arrow and Supernatural were removed from Netflix because the contracts expires.
And what sucks is knowing HBO Max, they're probably not going to be going up there anytime soon. But I would recommend keeping an eye on Tubi because they do have Batwoman on there. So I wouldn't doubt if that's where we'll see a lot of the CW shows kind of going after like a couple of months of them not being anywhere to be found.
What do you think?
Tubi, the free streaming service app.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and kick off the show. We're like 13 minutes deep, so let's go ahead and kick off the show with our first segment of the day. And welcome to our honorable mentions portion of the show. If you are in fact new here, honorable mentions are pretty much just topics that didn't quite make our top 6. But felt that you certainly still deserved to know about it. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these real quick. I did have this as a main topic, but I decided to switch it around just because Power Ranger news came up. So I decided let's move Power Rangers into one of our main slots here this week. So what I switched out was, in fact, an honorable mention from Welcome to Derry. As this week, with the wrap up of Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard was actually in the news. He had an interview with Esquire, and he admitted that he was aware of the Richie reference that was made in Welcome to Derry episode 8. If you guys saw the series finale, the Richie reference certainly came up. His picture actually popped up. He goes on to say, he says, "I knew that years ago." Finn Wolfhard said of his character's mention in the spinoff series, before adding, when they first started thinking about that show, it was probably 2021. Barbara and Andy Muschietti both told me you're involved. Yeah, I'm connected, he says. The up-and-coming Hollywood star then teased a return to the fan favorite horror franchise by stating, "I think there's something else that will come up eventually that I'm excited for people to see. So I don't know if this is necessarily him teasing a return to the It franchise, but I gotta say the connection that we saw was actually quite compelling. To see the pieces that Welcome to Derry has put together in regards to just the It movies themselves and the references to the characters from that and their connection to this particular time period for season one. I thought was actually I really was impressed with the way they executed it. Like it never even crossed my mind until Pennywise name drops him and shows the missing poster of Richie. I was like, oh my god, like it all makes sense now. Do you think there's a chance for him to return in some way, shape, or form, or you think he's teasing it at all?
I would say that yeah, there's definitely a chance. I think that the way he's talking about it, the reason he is kind of vague about it, I think it's just because it's not necessarily a plan that's like set in stone yet. It's something that could change, but I think that like from the way he talks about it, it sounds like Andy Muschietti told him a little bit more, but didn't want to give like too much details because obviously last thing you want to do is get all the fans' hopes up. And then, you know, they go into season 2 thinking, oh, we're going to get a flash forward and he's going to play like a much bigger part. And in actuality, it's like the same thing as season 1. He's there for like a brief moment and you only see him like, yeah, on the paper, on a missing paper. So, yeah, I think there's a chance. I would just say just tamper expectations. Don't expect him to play like a big role or anything like that.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't expect a big role, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Did you have any honorable mentions, Stuart, at all?
I do actually. I want to go back to our top 5 video because I actually did finally watch Ballerina, so I can actually give it a proper space on my list. So really enjoyed Ballerina for the most part. I thought it was just a really fun movie within the John Wick franchise. So I will give this in my top 5 list of basically when we took our top 5 anticipated movies and then ranked them. I think I put it at number 5 only because I hadn't seen it, so I couldn't like actually rate it. Now I'm putting it at number 4 only because the other 3 were just that good, so I just can't really put it above those 3, but I could definitely put it above How to Train Your Dragon. But there is one thing about Ballerina that I thought was really bizarre. So the main character, Eve, we see what she's able to do, right? She's able to take down like, you know, a mafia group like at this club, like when she's surrounded. We see that when she's surrounded in this village, she's able to really hold her own and take out like a good chunk of the people in the village, almost the entire village, basically just to kill one person, right?
Yeah.
All that's really impressive. Canonically, she is weaker than every single foe John Wick has gone against. And I say that because that fight between her and John Wick was weirdly one-sided. Like, it made no sense for her to be able to do all of that and yet still, like, not be able to lay a hand on John Wick. Like, John Wick's impressive, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on him, but, like, God, like they portray him in this movie. I'm sorry, but like luck is a good chunk of why John Wick is still alive at the end of his movies. So it's like, so it's just so weird to see like suddenly he's portrayed as if he's a god in this one, where it's like she can't even lay like a hand on him, even though she again wiped out like half a village, took down a big mob at the club, we do all this other stuff more than we see some of John Wick's foes do, and yet she struggles against John Wick more than any of the foes that he's gone up against. So I found that kind of weird.
He's the boogeyman, man. Yeah, he's the boogeyman. You know, that's how they got to portray him.
But he struggles in his own movies, though. He's not portrayed that much as a god. Like he's portrayed as a god to other people, but like to us as the audience, we see, oh, luck is a good chunk of why he survives a lot of these.
You know, that just means that these ballerina writers just misogynistic assholes just can't even let the female win a fight or like land a finger on this man.
Yeah, she didn't have to win the fight. In fact, I think I would have been a little disappointed if she did. I would have
been disappointed too, actually.
Yeah, I just don't think it needed to be that one-sided.
No, I get you. Well, I'm glad that you got a chance to properly rank Ballerina, and I would agree. I mean, I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. Nice entry into the John Wick. It certainly feels like it belongs there for sure. Maybe not as on par with the other ones, but it definitely felt like it in that lived in world for sure, which I appreciated.
I gotta tell you though, I think the part that made me kind of jump in excitement the most was when we saw that one of the characters like on the computer screen went, or no, it was when he printed a piece of paper and we saw that the character that she was after was played by Norman Reedus. I'm like, Daryl. The moment we see him with a shotgun, I'm like, that's not a crossbow.
Yeah, they messed up. They messed up there, man. They had an opportunity. Let's see here. What else we got for honorable mentions? Creature Commandos is back in the news. Since we didn't have a show last week, I thought this was actually pretty important to bring up. News is actually from last week. But according to Nexus Point News, we have a new addition to Creature Commandos Season 2, which is currently in production. And it's none other than the DC Comics character Captain Atom. Season 2 of the DC Universe's first project, Creature Commandos, is currently in production and set to introduce several new characters. Sources tell Nexus Point News that one major character that will be featured in the upcoming season is Captain Atom. The nature of his role is currently unknown, but he is set to be a reoccurring character in this upcoming season. The version that will appear in the series is Nathaniel Adam iteration of the character, which debuted back in 1986. The character originally was known as Alan Adam and was named yada, yada, yada. This iteration is a member of the Air Force and Vietnam War veteran who, after gaining his powers, is sent decades into the future. In the present day, he serves as a hero for the U.S. government. Captain Adam's body is coated in a metallic substance and is given nuclear powers. So Captain Atom is certainly no slouch. And after, I do think that this is a great addition to Creature Commandos. I think based off of the type of wars that this man has been through, I'm kind of curious about the PTSD that he certainly might have, or just his mindset of being sort of thrusted into this gang, whether or not he becomes a part of the Creature Commandos team, or if he's he has a recurring role. I really have no idea how they're going to utilize him, but just based off of everything that he's been through, I do think it's a pretty interesting one. And I've even heard some speculation that maybe this is Alan Richardson's role, perhaps. He said he wanted a character that had some some issues or some depth to them. It'll be interesting if this is who he ends up playing in voice acting and maybe in real life. But we'll see. What do you think about the edition?
Oh, that's perfect casting, actually.
I would think so too, but who knows?
I love Captain Atom. Okay, I never like read any Captain Atom comic books, but I loved him in basically Justice League Unlimited, because he was kind of that great. He was like an antagonist to Superman at one point in that show. Not a villain. Let me be clear on that, but there was definitely that like whole loyalty aspect to him, where because Justice League at the time were at odds with the U.S. government. There was this whole thing where him being a veteran, he wasn't sure who his loyalty should go to. So there was like this really cool fight scene with him and Superman, and because he can basically produce any kind of radiation. I can't remember exactly how his powers work, but he was able to imitate radiation, and that included radiation from red sun, and that's what led to like him being able to go toe to toe with Superman. So I think that introducing him at this point is a really cool idea, because we could definitely get him later on in another Superman movie if they ever wanted to kind of do something like that, because we've seen that Superman is also a character who's at odds with the government. So if we see him introduced in Creature Commando as like someone who I would say it's like kind of a Boy Scout, and that could kind of be a bad thing with how much he kind of will blindly trust higher authorities figures. So I think that they introduce him in that way. It wouldn't be like out of nowhere if we saw him as like a low-key antagonist to Superman 2, as like one of the many antagonists. But it all depends on where they decide to take his character. But I'm excited. I think that's a great addition to add to Creature Commando.
Yeah, I never like religiously read a lot of stuff that Captain Atom was in, but the stuff that I did read of him, and there was a 90s comic that I swear he was a really huge part of outside of like Justice League International. I swear that there was like another comic that I used to pick up in the 90s that had him involved that I was such a big fan of. I felt like it was a pretty limited run. I'm gonna have to try and see if I can find it anywhere to pull up image wise. But um, yeah, I've always been fascinated with Captain Atom, and he's just recently in the DCKO series. He actually fought in round one against Superman. It was Superman versus Captain Atom. I'm going to go ahead and actually read that comic book this week here. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about it on our TikTok page. But yeah, Captain Atom faces off against Superman. So it's funny that you brought up him being sort of the antagonist towards Superman in
Yeah.
the show. But yeah, Captain Atom will in fact be in season 2 of Creature Commandos. So look out for that. We also got Indy in the chat. What's up, Indy? Good to see you,
Hell
buddy.
yes.
We also got Blossom certainly joining us here today. Thank you so much, Blossom, for certainly coming through. And then we got one last honorable mention before we get into our main topics today, and that is going to be we actually got ourselves not only a new poster for Wonder Man. The Wonder Man series is set to go ahead and drop on January 27th, so towards the end of the month. They'll probably be dropping all the episodes. But they also gave us a brand new official trailer for Wonder Man here, clocking in about 2 minutes, a little bit over 2 minutes long. Have you had the opportunity to see it at all, Stuart?
I have indeed. I found one aspect of the trailer absolutely hilarious, but I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Yeah, you know, I have also been seeing other official posters that have been dropping for this. A lot of them having to do with like newspaper clippings or like the status of Hollywood when it comes to how they view superheroes, like no superheroes allowed or something like that. I guess when it comes to auditions, and it kind of plays into the trailer a little bit when they're asking him when he's filling out these applications and these roles if he's got superpowers and stuff. So I think that's an interesting wrinkle, like in the MCU, the idea of like Hollywood not wanting their actors to have superpowers. I mean, I guess if you think about it, just in today's day and age where like comic book superhero, comic book movies, fantasy movies, and things like that, I got to assume the concept of them having superpowers would easily give them like the advantage, right? Like you wouldn't even have to use special effects or like stunt doubles or anything like that, right? Like I personally would think if you've got superpowers and you're an actor, you'll probably land these roles extremely well. And so maybe there is some pushback in the sense of like from other actors, like now superheroes, they can't, like you can't have superpowers, at least like you're not allowed to when it comes to that. I just find that fascinating.
Yeah, that was actually the thing I was gonna mention that I thought was like really interesting. Because yeah, not only is it like kind of a funny meta reference, for superhero fatigue, and also, it kind of being like an even bigger thing in the MCU where like superheroes are a real thing, but it kind of reminded me of during the Cold War era of Hollywood, where like that would be a legit question or a question that people would ask, which is, are you a communist? So that's what it
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
that was kind of the vibes that I got from them asking if he had superpowers. It's like it felt like kind of the or the MCU modern day equivalent of in the 60s, someone asking, no, you seem perfect for the role, but I have to ask, you're not a communist, are you?
Yeah, no, it definitely adds up there for sure. It's a great comparison. We also got Kiki and Luca in the house joining us on the new year, celebrating by giving us a super chat. We appreciate you, Kiki and Luca. I hope you guys had a great holiday. Hope that you certainly brought in the new year with friends and family. So we definitely appreciate the super chat here today. And thank you for joining us. Hopefully you get the opportunity to stick around for today's show. But yeah, this trailer also teases definitely the idea that Simon Williams, yes, he does have superpowers. They definitely tease it very much so in this trailer. Him breaking like the marble table in his kitchen, or maybe his friend's kitchen, who knows. There's a scene in here, him briefly screaming and like objects around him vibrating. You even get to see like a close up of his eye and like some sort of power source or some sort of power fluctuating kind of through his body. So they definitely are teasing that. Yes, he's an actor, but he certainly has superpowers. But honestly, that effect of his eye, that red effect, every time I see it, I just immediately associate it with like Scarlet Witch, or like some sort of like hex powers. And so I am wondering if like uh if he's like maybe from Westview or something like that. If we learn he's originally from Westview and he's moved to California and wants to be an actor now or something like that. I don't know, but anytime I see like the red hue of powers, I just think Scarlet Witch automatically.
God, you just put a messed up thought in my head. Like basically from his time at Westview, the trauma just was so ingrained in him that he got so used to playing a specific role. That's what got him obsessed with acting.
Maybe, dude, maybe. I am kind of curious how far this series takes place away from the events of Westview, but we'll see. I mean, look, it's a big ass W there. Maybe it's a hint, Stuart. Maybe it's not for Wonder Man. But we'll see how this series turns out. I still don't know what my levels of anticipation are for this. I don't know if I have any levels of anticipation. I think if anything, I'll probably will watch this show simply because of Yaya and Ben Kingsley alone. But yeah, I'm just gonna go in this with open mind and see what they give us.
I think that's what I'm kind of excited about with this show. I really don't have any expectations for
Yeah, I
it.
really don't.
I like that the trailers have led me to believe that it's definitely not going to follow like the traditional Marvel format. But yeah, we still don't know for sure what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys posted. Let us know if you've got the opportunity to check out the Wonder Man trailer, and after seeing it, if you have any additional thoughts. But yeah, let us know. All right, guys, with that out of the way, let's dive into our main topics. Are you ready to tackle these topics with me, Stuart?
Always.
Let's go, man. First and foremost, guys, thank you again for certainly joining us for our first New Year's edition of APlus Hero Report back after the holidays. And we got a lot to certainly talk about. We're going to get into Avengers Doomsday a little bit as we got the official release of the Thor teaser trailer, fresh off of Stranger Things series finale. Is there potentially more? We'll talk about that. Same thing with Avatar Fire and Ash. After Fire and Ash, where do we go from here? James Cameron certainly teases things for us, and we got some other incredible topics we're going to be breaking down for you guys. But first and foremost, we're going to kick off similar to what we did 2 weeks ago when we got that Captain America, or I should say that Steve Rogers teaser. Avengers Doomsday is upon us. I mean, we are still about a year away, but that hasn't stopped Marvel Studios from marketing the hell out of this movie. As I believe also this week, they have a brand new teaser currently in theaters, playing before Fire and Ash. If anything, I would expect by the time we wrap up this show, Stuart, they will probably have dropped the official third trailer, or at least maybe next week, maybe give us an official trailer for it. I won't tease it for those of you who don't know about it, but this week we did get ourselves our Thor teaser, as Chris Hemsworth is notably set to return. If you guys remember that 5-hour casting reveal we had in the middle of the summer last year, Chris Hemsworth was the lead name that they kicked things off with. And this is our first time seeing Thor since Love and Thunder, as he is in fact teased to return for Avengers Doomsday. I think the teaser is only maybe about a minute or so, if I'm not mistaken. But it does get the opportunity to show Thor really getting ready to battle and sort of saying a prayer and talking to his father Odin, before he kind of goes into battle here. Stuart, I would assume you've had the opportunity to check out this trailer, right?
I have indeed.
First off, I would assume that the Russo brothers are shooting all of these trailers. I'm really liking the directing work, the scene selections, the cinematography, the color grading actually looks really good on both of these teasers that we've had so far. So maybe the Russos have certainly maybe even upped their game a little bit more since we've last saw them in the MCU. I want to hear your thoughts though. What did you think about this teaser, and do you find these teasers effective?
So the first teaser I thought was very much like it felt very fan servicey, if that makes sense. Like it very much felt like they knew. I don't know how to describe it. Basically, yeah, they brought Chris Evans back because they knew that was what the fans wanted, and they showed us like what he had been up to, which just I don't know, it didn't grip me anyway in the way I think that the trailer wanted me to. This one, however, I think because we've seen a lot more of Thor ever since the ending of his movie, or sorry, ever since the ending of Endgame, we saw more of him with Love and Thunder, and they actually ended it on a note that we weren't really sure where that was going to take the direction of the character. Like in a way, the way that Thor Love and Thunder ended, it felt like it could have actually been like the ending to like Thor as a whole. Like this could have been his last appearance. So I do like seeing him coming back, and then also I kind of like how it takes a very different tone with his character compared to what we've seen from his last two solo movies. I like that he very much seems like he sees that the stakes are really high, and I kind of like that, like as he's praying to his dad, the main thing that he prays for isn't to return home because he doesn't want to die, he doesn't want any of that. It's just he wants to return home so that his new daughter has a father, after at the end of the day, after all of this. So I think that was the part of the trailer that actually kind of got to me the most, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that they didn't try to play it as a joke or anything like that, which is, again, something that just, and not that I have anything wrong against Thor being funny, but yeah, I definitely think that it's really nice that they kind of wounded the comedy aspect of him down, went more for kind of the serious vibe for the teaser. I also really like his design. Like they went back to the short hair, which I like him with either short or long hair. Either one works for me. So they went back to the short hair. But yeah, I like his overall like design and aesthetic for sure.
Yeah, it is fascinating to me, the route that they've gone with this one. Because it's what the thing that I do find the funniest, and it's not necessarily funny, but I'm when I take a step back, it's like all of our main adventure characters now have kids.
Yeah.
You got Tony, who had a child before his passing in Endgame. Steve Rogers has a kid also, and now Thor's adopted, or Thor's got a kid of his own, sort of thing. And I think that really like changes, I think, the dynamic or where these characters are at, when we get to Avengers Doomsday, along with just really what they're kind of fighting for. Like they have different motivations now, kind of going into this one, and I think that's what the first two teasers have sort of really set up for me. I know some people say the first teaser didn't really hit for them, but again, I think a lot of this has got to do with being a father myself now. I just view shit just differently now. Like I just really do. Like anything family related just gets to me. And so, I think the idea of Steve having a child will really change him and his motivations towards what he's fighting for, why he even returns to battle in the first place. And so to be able to see Thor, first off, I would agree with you. It's nice to see an attitude change from him after Love and Thunder, and there's nothing wrong, like he said, nothing wrong with him being comedic, because I loved his comedic aspect in Ragnarok. Thor: Love and Thunder definitely jumped the shark for me a little bit, but it is nice to see him back in his serious tone that we recognize him mostly for. And just seeing, like you said, the stakes for him have in fact been raised. The idea of like going into battle, being weary that he may not return, and wanting to pray that, like, please, like, let me just get through this final battle so I can go home and actually raise my child. And I think all of those really raise the stakes for where these characters go. And if I could be honest with you, I'm worried now, Stuart. I'm so worried. I'm so worried. I know that Chris Hemsworth has come out and he's like, no, I'm not teasing the fact that I'm gonna be leaving as this character. But in my head, I'm just like, bro, like I just when you add a kid, when you have that sort of weight on your character, and the man is literally praying, like, please. And the fact that he's praying to get through this, and we know the villain of this movie is Doctor Doom. I'm like, how powerful is this dude that Thor literally's got to pray to get through this? Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, all I'm thinking in my head, Stuart, is like, how we talked about like one of the images from the Jonathan Hickman run of Secret Wars that people always talk about, that they're like, I need to see this on the big screen just to emphasize how powerful Doctor Doom is when Doctor Doom literally like rips the head of Thanos off and like, or like disintegrates his body in his head like instantly.
There
In my
was
head,
there was a YouTuber. He does like these really cool 3D animated videos, but he recreated that scene like in 3D Engine. The part that people aren't going to like is that he used AI voices for the characters. But yeah, he recreated that scene with Doctor Doom's Robert Downey Jr., but with Robert Downey Jr.'s face, and then yeah, with Thanos using Josh Brolin's voice, and exact same way played out. Like rips rips his head out with his spine, just like in the comic books.
and so after watching this teaser, I'm just thinking to myself, please don't let that be Thor. Like, don't let that be Thor in the movie. Like I'm because if you want to immediately showcase how powerful Doctor Doom is, I mean, imagine him just doing that to Thor.
Oh.
And I mean, you would immediately set the tone, like especially if it happened like in the first act of the movie. It would immediately set the tone of raising the stakes for our characters, but it would even just add to just how impactful this Thor teaser is in regards to the idea of like him just wanting to get through this battle so he can return home to his child. I'm just thinking, don't let, please, like the way that he's talking, I'm just like, is he even gonna make it out of this movie? And I'm starting to get worried, Stuart. I'm starting to get worried. So yeah, I thought this teaser was really effective, dude.
Honestly, when it comes to most of the original Avengers, yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if some of them aren't going to be making it back. I don't think they're going to utilize Thor in that way. I guess you could say that's kind of similar to how they utilized the Hulk in the first Avengers Infinity War movie.
Oh yeah, beat his
So
ass, and then we never saw him again.
yeah, so if anything, I think I don't think they would kill him, but maybe they would show him get his ass handed to him. Just again, like you said, show off how powerful this version of Doctor Doom is going to be. But I don't think they'll kill him, especially like not that early on in the movie.
God, I hope not, man. I hope not. I mean, but if you want to send a message, I mean, that's definitely one way to do it. But yeah, I'm just worried now, Stuart, after watching this teaser trailer. But I guess that's part of the hype machine, getting you anticipated for certainly what's to come. So we'll see how Thor makes it out of this. But I think we've got 2 or 3 more teasers that are set to come. Again, the third teaser currently is in theaters. If you guys want to go ahead and see Fire and Ash again, go catch it in theaters. But I have a feeling that they probably will drop the third a trailer officially sometime this week. It feels like they're letting them play in theaters for a week and then they're dropping them online. You could probably find the leaked version of the third trailer somewhere. I have refused to watch it. I'm waiting for the official stuff to certainly drop just so I can get a better view of what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
But I do find these really effective. I don't view these as teaser trailers per se, as I do as just teasers in regards to like, here's just a little something for you guys to get the hype up. And then I would expect an official teaser trailer maybe after all of these have in fact been released, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Like they're really, because yeah, they show even less than what you normally even see in teaser trailers. So yeah, they're just little teases. Like they're basically like glorified posters.
Yeah, pretty much. And anytime you've got Thor, we got to talk about his brother. We got to talk about his brother, Loki. As Tom Hiddleston actually had an interview with GQ here this week. And he gave a little bit more insight this week, Stuart, in regards to his addition to Avengers Doomsday and how he was going to be involved. And I actually found this pretty interesting. It's all the way down at the bottom of this interview. If you want to check it out, it's from GQ Magazine's UK website. He says he's always wanted to show the face behind the mask because he believes inside all of us is a softness, and watching those stories has always made him feel less alone. This is why he loved playing Marvel supervillain Loki, whom he made sympathetic and fallible over a 15-year arc. That journey culminated at the end of the second season of his spin-off TV show, with Loki being given a second chance to choose not to be the bad guy. He says, in order to become something different, whose story had a different ending, he had to make peace with the things he did, is what Tom says. It gave him the power of authorship over his own story. And then we saw Loki go on to become sort of like the god of stories, if you will, at the end. But he says, when we met with Hiddleston, has recently finished filming Avengers Doomsday, picking up from the glorious purpose that Loki found at the end of season 2. This is what Tom says. My contribution has been contributed, he says, of the forthcoming film. And then slightly less evasively, it is monumental. The center of the story is absolutely brilliant and was so surprising when I read it. It just has never been done before. So he's definitely teasing something big, especially in regards to a character arc, not only for Loki. Some people have been speculating for quite some time that in the Secret Wars comic book, the Beyonder is who Doctor Doom sort of captures and utilizes. Well, I think maybe in the original Secret Wars, or maybe it happened in both arcs. I'm not quite sure. Where the Beyonder is captured and utilized to sort of create these new worlds, if you will. And so some people are speculating that if the Beyonder may not necessarily be introduced into the MCU, but they may use Loki certainly in that same capacity. So when he talks about his contribution, saying it is monumental and that the center of the story is absolutely brilliant and was so surprising when I read it, it just has never been done before. I am kind of curious as to how they're going to utilize Loki in this particular role. But how do you feel with Tom Hiddleston saying that?
Honestly, I do think that he will have to play an important role given his like now new development from his TV show. But when it comes to like kind of the plot, I'm honestly less interested in his role in the plot, and I'm a lot more interested in his role in terms of like how he's gonna interact with all the characters now that he's like completely different from the last time they've seen him. That's what I'm kind of most excited about, especially with Thor. I'm really excited for the Thor Loki reunion. I think that's what I want to see out of this, out of his character returning more than anything.
I will say I would definitely agree with you. I am kind of curious as to how much interaction he gets. I mean, if and again, this is a big if. I mean, if we are talking about him being captured and being utilized by Doctor Doom to utilize his powers and to create whatever he is, create whatever he wants. I am kind of curious if by being captured, how much interaction he'll have with anybody else, with the exception of maybe like Doctor Doom in here. I mean, maybe if we get into something like a Secret Wars, maybe he plays a bigger role. But again, this is just all speculation on my part. But I would agree. I the idea that how far he's come, to see how much he's changed, I really would like to see the other Avengers, especially Thor, sort of interacting with him. Because one, I think he would be surprised. I don't believe that they are. Well, I was going to say, unless they went back into time in Endgame, I don't know if anybody else is really aware that there was been another Loki sort of running around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the idea of Thor bumping back into his brother after all this time would be something to definitely see. And just to see how much he certainly has changed would be a fun one. But I think for me, what I really enjoy hearing Tom Hiddleston say, and again, we talk all the time about actors that are in these roles. They're never really gonna shit on the script or shit on the story. But I feel like I continue to hear people talk about, I mean, he says it's monumental. The story is absolutely brilliant. I was surprised when I read it. It's just never been done before. There are some actors, when they talk about their projects, I tend to believe them. Some actors I could be like, okay, he's just kind of saying that to say that. But I feel like this is like a repeated pattern that I'm starting to hear from some of the people attached to this about how surprised they are, how big in scope in regards to the story is. And it just continues to give me some level of confidence that there really is like a story that they've managed to come together that even the actors are surprised about, that they've been able to kind of put something like this together. And that's not necessarily to say like this is going to be a fantastic movie. I think I'm just saying, we have a lot of doubts about, can the Russos do it again? Why are they bringing the Russos back? Oh, we're just using Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans as nostalgia bait. But the Russo brothers have said in theater and in interviews, like, we wouldn't have come back if we weren't able to sort of crack the story. And if I've got big, people that have been attached to the MCU, like Tom Hiddleston, sort of praising what they've been able to accomplish, even himself being surprised and never seen something like this really done before. I don't know. It just continues to give me some level of hope that that they really might have tapped into something here that I don't necessarily know if we as fans are mentally, I don't want to say mentally prepared for, but I think we've come to just be so hesitant or down on things when it comes to the MCU that we can't possibly fathom that this is going to be successful in some way, shape, or form. But I continue to hear the same things from the actors in different ways about how they themselves are even surprised that they've been able to accomplish something so huge in making this movie. And so I don't know, it definitely gives me a sense of hope that the Russo brothers might actually do it again.
Yeah. That is a good point, because it isn't just Tom Hiddleston. We've heard of this from many actors, and the fact that Tom Hiddleston, he's definitely an actor that doesn't need Marvel. Like, if he wanted to, he could have quit. Like,
right, he doesn't have
anytime.
to say stuff like that.
Yeah, so it definitely does add that whole layer. I think the only reason I don't like, I'm still like, again, not saying that it's going to be bad, not saying I have low expectations for it, but I'm still hesitant to get my hopes too high up for this. I think like part of it also is that like, an actor's perspective of a movie can be very different from an audience's, because they see it from the perspective of, this is something we got to do for fun, like as a really fun project.
Right.
Like for me, if I don't know, like if I was an actor, even if I was working on a movie that was bad, as long as the experience of making the movie was fun, I don't think I would ever see it as a bad movie in my eyes,
Yeah, no, I totally, and that's why I say like there are certain actors that I feel this way about. Not necessarily all actors. Like some actors can say something, I'll be like, okay, they're just kind of saying that. But when you mention the idea of like Tom Hiddleston and where he like just who he is as an actor outside of the MCU, he's not really somebody that needs to kiss ass. You know what I'm saying? And I think those actors in the way that they talk about things are just they just come as uniquely genuine to me compared to some of the other actors that we've seen or say things like this. So he didn't have to say this, but the way that he said it, I'm like, okay, maybe maybe there is something here. So we'll see. I choose to remain positive about Avengers Doomsday, but we'll see how the final what the final product is certainly like. But yeah, the hype machine has in fact begun for Avengers Doomsday.
Well, if you're going to be positive about it, I got to pretend to be angry about it, so that way we just balance each other out.
I love it, Stuart. Let's see here. Do we have any comments? Marcelino says many are praising Thor is back to being serious and that the comedy are being erased. Many people now are turning on Ragnarok, saying that while it's a great movie, it's not a great Thor movie, and it actually destroyed Thor's character because they turned him into a jug. I mean, this is that's film Twitter for you, man. That's just you like something one day and then you watch it enough or you complain about it enough to where you literally convince yourself it's a shitty movie. Like it just, you literally hate something long enough to you're just like, I hate this movie. It's not as good as I thought it was. Like I see people do shit like this all the time. Like, at some point in time, just leave movies alone. Love them for what you love them for.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they cast an actual Romani actor for Doom, because not only is he Romani, but his persecution and discrimination is one reason why he became Doom. Interesting thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Stuart?
I thought he was from I thought he was raised in a fictional country, right? Uh,
Latveria?
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's Romanian in some aspect or not. I have no idea.
Okay.
What's because I think no, I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. But yeah, we'll leave it up to Marcelino to maybe know what he's talking about. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not certain, so I don't want to say anything.
I'm not confident enough to like argue or anything.
Yeah, yeah, me
I'm
either.
just like going by what I vaguely remember, you know.
Yeah, I
You know
get you. I
what's
get you.
I was thinking about this recently, like because every now and then like I'll pick up one that I already have like on my shelf, or you know, I'll reread something. But man, it has been a long time like since I've really read a new comic book, you know, and kept up with what's been going on. Like it's been,
Yeah.
I want to say, a couple years. Like I haven't yeah, gone. I really should probably do something about that this year, try to get back into comic books again. But yeah, it's bizarre. I just haven't been reading as many comics as I used to.
Oh, you know what? I think I found the. Remember, I was talking about the Captain Atom uh comic books
Yeah,
that I thought
yeah.
I saw him in. I think it was Justice League Task Force, if I recall correctly. I'm trying to see if I maybe I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure it was Justice League Task Force. I don't know if that was based off Task Force X or not. Yeah, I believe it was Task Force X. 1993. They had I think Martian Manhunter was a part of it. I believe the character Ray was a part of it also. They even had a video game, I think, called Justice League Task Force, but I'm talking about the 1990s comic book. I want to say he was a part of that, but maybe I'm tripping. I might be tripping. But anyway,
Hmm.
let's get back to our topic, shall we? So yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. How effective have you thought the teaser trailers have, or the teasers have been for Avengers Doomsday? And what did you think about the return of Thor? Let us know your thoughts in the live chat. All right, and with that, we will stick into the realm of the MCU as we transition from Avengers Doomsday over to Black Panther. That's right, Black Panther's in the news. Most notably, Ryan Coogler is in the news, and he had the opportunity to sit down and discuss. I don't know exactly what he was discussing in this initial interview, but the concept of Black Panther came up. And ever since the passing of Chadwick Boseman, we do know that he had to completely rewrite the script and come up with a completely different story for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I haven't really known too much about what that original script was certainly all about. Maybe there's been some rumors and speculation maybe going around. I personally have not followed up with it. But this week, Ryan Coogler decided to let us know exactly what the original Black Panther 2 script would have been like had it featured Boseman. And I found this actually quite interesting, Stuart. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. This comes to us from, I believe, coming soon, or superherohype.com. I believe that they got this interview from the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. Coogler was asked if he could share at least one scene from the original Black Panther 2 script that would have featured Boseman. And this is what Coogler had to say. He says it was like a 180-page draft, chock full of them. The big thing about the script was that it was this thing called the Ritual of Eight, where when a prince is 8 years old, he has to go spend 8 days in the bush with his father. Among those 8 days, they have to go into the bush without any tools. The prince has to listen and do everything that's asked of him by his father. But the rule is for those 8 days, the prince can ask the father any question, and the father has to answer. He says during the course of those 8 days, Namor launches an attack. So that was what the movie was. He had
Ah.
he had to deal with somebody, and it was a different version of Namor in that script. But he had to deal with someone who was like insanely dangerous. But because of that ritual, his son had to be joined at his hip the whole time. So while he was engaging in negotiations and fights, his son had to be there. or else they'd have to violate this ritual which had never been broken. Bro, I love the sound of this, Stuart. I love the sound of this. One, it confirms to me that his son would have been introduced a lot earlier. Because if you wind up seeing Wakanda Forever, he's very much sort of hidden and kind of kept as a secret. That there's very few people that really knew about T'Challa's son at the end of this. That's wind up being revealed to Letitia Wright's character in Shuri at the end. And I guess he was probably about, I guess he's about 8 years old in that movie. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how much time has passed or how old he is in Wakanda Forever. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the idea of Chadwick Boseman coming back to reprise this role, to be a part of the Ritual of Eight, to where he would be interacting with his son, it just really sets up a whole different dynamic. And the idea of him having to be attached at his hip the entire time, I mean, I could just easily like visualize him being in a fight with Namor and his son kind of being stuck in the middle of this battle. Like it really blows me away, Stuart. So I'm actually a really big fan of this. What do you think about it, though?
That it's definitely something that has a lot of potential. I like the idea of like not even making the idea of T'Challa having a son like a twist, instead like that actually playing a big chunk in the story. My big thing is so basically he has to answer every single question that the son asked. So I'm kind of curious what exactly they were going to do with that. Like what questions would his son have asked, and if this would have been a challenge for T'Challa, if T'Challa would have actually broken his part of the whole thing, if he would have lied about something because maybe he had an answer to one question that he had too much shame for and didn't want to admit. So I'd be very, very curious to like see how that whole thing would have played out, if we had gotten that version of the movie. But yeah, this is a cool concept. It's obviously too bad that we never got to see it because of the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. But with Ryan Coogler as a director and seeing what he was able to do with Black Panther 2 with such little time, I have no doubt that this would have been something really cool.
Yeah, I think for me, this really just like solidifies like just how brilliant I think Ryan Coogler really is, man. I mean, to come up with this kind of concept is just so incredible. And to his credit, to be able to go from something like this to Wakanda Forever, I think is also like a cap in his hat for being able to make that kind of transition. Now, while some people will say they weren't necessarily as big of a fans of Wakanda Forever as the first Black Panther, there are aspects of Wakanda Forever I don't really care for, like the whole Martin Freeman character that's in, was it Ross or something like that, and his storyline. I could really do without that. I would be kind of curious if Ironheart was always meant to be in the original script instead of Wakanda Forever, or was she introduced specifically for Wakanda Forever also because of the rewrites? So, but there are aspects of Wakanda Forever I'm absolutely a huge fan of, and I absolutely love. So to be able to go from that to Wakanda Forever, and still hold up in regards to levels of storytelling and what it was able to do, certainly at the box office, I think is just a credit to how great Ryan Coogler is. But I am a really big fan of this concept, and I wish this could have been something that that we wind up getting at the end of the day, because one, like you said, his son isn't hidden, and so it feels very much like it's a natural part of the story, but also I think also like a succession plan at some point in time, maybe knowing that Chadwick is just gonna kind of get older at some point in time. You're gonna have to pass the mantle on maybe after you get done with a trilogy. If the MCU ever does want to do a soft reboot or whatever the case may be, you immediately sort of set up the idea of like, well, here's somebody else that can kind of take this mantle. So it feels very forward thinking by Ryan Coogler, but also I think still keeping true to the themes of Black Panther, whether that be the sins of the father. We saw that in the first Black Panther, right? Whether that be T'Challa's father and some of the things that he certainly didn't get right, or Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger, some of the things that his own father didn't necessarily get right. It would have been interesting to kind of see those same themes translated into this ritual of 8 in regards to seeing like how he deals with his son, and if there's any missteps that he personally wants to reveal. Like the idea of having to tell the truth. I think for me, like as a father, as I raise my son, I would be interested, like when he gets to the age of 8, could I be that truthful with him in regards to certain things, because I think our tendency sometimes as parents is to lie in order to protect our kids from like what the real world might be like, or whatever the case may be. And so, I do fear when that day certainly comes, but to be able to be that truthful and honest with your son, when your own father kind of held things,
Yeah,
when your
that's
own father
right.
kept things from you, I would be interested to see like if T'Challa learned a lesson from his own experience with his dad, or if he really struggles to be honest with his son. I don't know. I like just the themes passing down from Black Panther 1 to Black Panther 2, and just T'Challa's history with his dad just makes this even more kind of compelling for me. So man, this is a brilliant idea for a script, and I really wish this is something we would have gotten.
Damn, you know what I just thought of? I forgot completely about that whole thing from the first Black Panther movie. That's a big thing that he kept from his son. So I'd be very curious if we were to get a flashback to basically T'Challa when he was a kid with his father doing that exact same type of spiritual quest. And if he asked like a question that he realized looking back years later in retrospect because of what he knows now, that his dad lied to him.
Lied to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many fucking layers to this script. Like I really would have loved to have sunk my teeth into this even more. But again, I think this just goes to show you how brilliant Ryan Coogler really is in regards to just how in tune with, I think, just T'Challa and this world of Wakanda that he really is, and being able to kind of establish and create this world within the MCU is kind of amazing to me. So definitely a missed opportunity, but it's nothing against Ryan Coogler. Unfortunately, life happens. We got the passing of Chadwick Boseman in here, so rest in peace, Chadwick. But man, this would have been incredible, bro.
Agreed.
Let's see what you guys are saying in here. Blossom says a new Black Panther. I don't know. Well, this is Black Panther 2's original script. So this is what we would have gotten instead of Wakanda Forever had Chadwick Boseman not passed. But if we're talking about a new Black Panther, there are rumors that we may get introduced to a new one, whether that be Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars, and may become Black Panther 3. The mantle might have in fact been passed, but that's just rumor and speculation right now, but who knows. Are we gonna say Stuart?
Oh yeah, just that. Yeah, the whole future, what a lot of people are predicting is that after Avengers Secret Wars, that'll be kind of the moment they reboot and recast a lot of original Avengers actors. So I feel like they would use that as an opportunity to bring back Black Panther just with a new actor.
Marcelino says, I already knew what the plot for Black Panther 2 was for a few years, except for the Ritual of 8. That's new to me. I always thought people already knew the plot. There's already videos on the internet that go over the original plot of Black Panther 2. The only thing that was left out was a Ritual of 8. That was something none of them had. I would question, is that really the original plot if you don't even know about the Ritual of 8? Like, it feels like the Ritual of 8 is like a really big piece of this puzzle. I mean, maybe some aspects of what they thought was the original plot, maybe that's maybe that was in the original aspect of things. I don't know if Ryan Coogler has confirmed what those other people have thought about in regards to what the plot of was originally going to be. I'm not quite sure, but um, the fact that nobody's ever talked about the Ritual of Eight, I think is like the missing piece, I should say, of the puzzle here in regards to what would really make the movie itself work. Because it feels like that Ritual of Eight is probably the 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 meat of the plot, of everything kind of coming together, if that makes sense, you know. So again, I don't know what's been out there in regards to what people say the plot of Black Panther 2 was, but I mean, maybe they were right. Maybe now learning about the Ritual of Eight, maybe it makes what those people have talked about in regards to what the plot of Black Panther 2 was, maybe it makes a little bit more sense. I'm not quite sure. But it feels like a really big missing piece of the puzzle to say that they know what the plot is without the Ritual of Eight, because it feels like this is very much a big part of it. So I mean, who knows? I haven't kept up with like Ryan Coogler's interviews or what the speculation and rumors were over the years in regards to what the original aspect was going to be. But it feels like that's a pretty big aspect to leave out, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Black Panther. After Black Panther 3, many people want Black Panther's story to continue with the new director. Who would you like to see replace Coogler? And what stories from the comics would you like to see in the future? I don't know. Who would I like to see direct like a Black Panther 4? Oh man. Let me see. This is where Google comes into play. Black directors in Hollywood. Let's see. Who we got? And I would be curious as to like, boom, Jordan Peele comes up. I don't know if I want a Jordan Peele Black Panther movie, to be quite frank with you.
I think he's gone out of his way to say that he has like zero interest in working on Marvel or DC at this moment. I think he just like prefers working, like being able to have like full creative control over his work.
I'm trying to think. I see John Singleton up here. I'm trying to see what some of John Singleton's work has been. I have to put it up. I'll have to pull it up and say, but I don't know off the top of my head though. I'll think about it. I'll think about it for sure.
One, like I could see Michael B. Jordan actually, like if it was something that he was interested, I could see him having a cool vision for the for Black Panther, like kind of going forward. Especially if he wants to bring back the character of Killmonger, because then it's like, yeah, he would know exactly how to write that character and how to direct him.
He does have his directorial debut under his belt with Creed 3, which actually I thought was a really big fan of. I would like to see him direct maybe one more movie before taking on a big tentpole film like a Black Panther movie, but it's definitely not out of the range of possibility for sure. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Frankie, what's up, Frankie? Good to see you in here. No one can replace Ryan Coogler, and a good storyline would be the first time when Captain America and Black Panther first met back in World War II. John Singleton is no longer with us, I believe. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Oh yeah, I think what I was looking at says the top 5 best Black directors, and he came in at number 4. So I guess that was like living or dead, but that's pretty sad, unfortunately. And Antoine Fuqua, I believe he just did I think he just did the Michael Jackson movie, if I'm not mistaken. That might be another option there too. But I do like the idea of a period piece going back to World War II and telling that story. That would be actually dope to kind of see come together. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, after Ryan Coogler finishes his trilogy, it's like I have no idea where they would even go with the Black Panther character after that. But we'll see. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And with that, Stuart, let's wrap up that story and move on to some television here. in regards to Stranger Things being in the news this week. This has been a massive week for Stranger Things. We wind up getting ourselves the series finale this past Wednesday on New Year's Eve. If you got the opportunity to see it on the big screen, kudos to you. It was a 2-day release. I'm not if I believe correctly. They had it the finale playing in theaters on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And it made millions of dollars also, I think, at least in regards to concessions for the theaters. I don't necessarily know if they had any like box office numbers for this one or not. But Stranger Things was here and it has officially wrapped, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is the end of Stranger Things. We do know that we have ourselves an animated series set to drop next year called Tales from 85 that takes place between seasons 2 and 3. That would, in fact, be an animated series. But the Duffer brothers this week, Stuart, are talking about the potential for a spinoff. And this has been kind of in the news before, but I think this might be the first time that they've openly discuss the idea that yes, a spinoff is in fact planned. So if you wanted more Stranger Things is coming to you. Maybe not necessarily in the way that you thought, though. But let's go ahead and dive into this article. This comes to us from Screen Rant. Stranger Things secret spinoff story teased by the Duffer brothers. We have actually two articles, two things that I want to highlight in regards to this. In an interview with Screen Rant, Matt and Ross Duffer spoke about the newly released Volume 2 of Season 5 and the final season. The directors were asked about an unconfirmed spinoff, which could potentially be in the works, as well as getting unanswered questions resolved during the final few episodes. This is what Matt Duffer said. We tried as much as possible to answer all the questions as it relates to the characters and the mythology of Hawkins in the Upside Down. We're really closing the door and all that. And the spinoff, it relates in some ways, but it really is a completely different story and a completely different location with completely different actors and characters. So it's really its own entity. So really emphasizing the idea that yes, there is a spinoff that's happening, but this spinoff is going to be something uniquely different. So not in Hawkins, different story, new actors and new characters, and really its own thing. Now, I do want to put up a quick spoiler warning here for you guys. If you guys have not had the opportunity to check out the series finale, and I know you did, Stuart, but if you have not had the opportunity to check out the series finale, there is another interview after the series finale that drops that teased a little bit more about the potential of this spinoff and what it could mean. So I'm just going to give you the spoiler warning right now. Let's pull this up here. Here we go. It says, the Mind Flayer is the real villain. This is an interview from Variety. The interviewer asks, the Mind Flayer is the real villain, as the real evil, which we asked about in our Volume 1 postmortem. But if you had to define what that rock in the briefcase is, how would you describe it? Matt says, how would we describe it? And the interviewer says, what is it? He says, I'm going to be sketchy here because I will say that is, can I say this, Ross? Because it's just hard not to say it. And they say, spinoffy? And he says, spinoffy, yeah, you pinned it down. So annoying. I do want to explain, just because people's expectations go in certain directions. The spinoff is going to delve into that and explain that. And you're going to understand it, but it's a completely different mythology. So it's not a deep exploration of the Mind Flayer or anything like that. It's very fresh, very new, but yes, it will answer some of those loose threads that are remaining. Where are you with the spinoff? We're going to start working on it again on Monday. We've been working on it on and off. We'll take a few days off. On Monday, He says, "Yeah, you don't understand. My favorite part of the show is working on it. It's not releasing it. It's just stressful. No matter how it goes when you release it, it's maybe my least favorite part of the process. I like the creative part. I like making it. So we're actually really excited, and we're very excited to work with a clean slate, completely new characters, new town, new world, new mythology." So they do go on to tease that while yes, all of this is new, um, one aspect of Stranger Things that will kind of bleed over at least is maybe an origin story of this rock, and maybe tap into a little bit of the mind flayer. It says it's not a deep exploration of the mind flayer or anything like that, but it is going to delve into that and explain what that rock is, so you're going to kind of understand it. So yeah, Stuart, some big reveals here in regards to what this potential spinoff could be. But how do you feel about this? Are you at the point where you're like, it don't matter if it's got Stranger Things title on it, like I'm done and over with it, I'm ready to move on to something new? Or do you think the idea of this kind of loose thread being able to be explored a little bit more with a fresh new setting and characters kind of works and interests you? I'm kind of curious as to what you think.
Honestly, I don't really have a strong opinion with this as a spinoff one way or another. I think there's definitely some potential, but I definitely wasn't. I was when I saw The Rock in the episode, I wasn't like, oh, I need to learn more about that. How much of Henry is still there? Is he letting The Rock control him by choice, or is this like actually The Rock just has overpowered him? Like it's one of those things where it's like I wasn't necessarily interested in the answers themselves. I actually kind of like that they left a lot of that vague, but I'm also not against the idea of exploring it more as long as they actually have like a good idea of how to like flesh it out, which I'm sure they did when they wrote these scripts, because they are pretty good when it comes to that kind of attention to detail. So what it comes down to is that, yeah, if when the show gets into development, when news comes out about it, like the more I hear, if it catches my eye, awesome. If not, basically what I'm saying is I'm not letting the fact that it's a Stranger Things spinoff dictate whether or not I'm excited for it or not. Just because, even though I really like Stranger Things, I don't think that automatically means anything that kind of spins off from it is going to be, my new favorite or my new most anticipated show. But that said, though, the thing that I got kind of curious about, because like a lot of TV series finales, they ended with every character kind of going their own separate path, and then possibly leading to the potential of a spinoff, like a lot of series finales. One of them was Hopper and Joyce, and so this is where I'm kind of curious if the two of them are going to be in this spinoff show, because the two of them mentioned going to this new small town, basically where he was going to be chief of police there.
Oh yeah.
And the small town that they name dropped, forgot the name of it, but I know that it's based on a real small town. And then I didn't notice this. Someone on TikTok pointed this out. That town is also where there was a military base that did the exact same human experiments that inspired
What?
the show Stranger Things.
Wow.
So there is that possibility that that's what leads to the spinoff show. If that's the case, they could end up tying it back into Vecna and the Rock and all that, assuming that's where they're going with it. That being said, they do say that it's a very different like kind of mythology. So for all we know, it may follow completely different characters who knew nothing about the stuff that went on in Hawkins. But yeah, I think that potential is there, which is pretty cool. So I thought I'd throw that out.
Yeah, that I had never heard that before, but that's actually pretty dope. For me, this is one of those things where when I think of this though, just based off of when Henry does discover the rock, there's a part of me that thinks that this is going to be like another sort of period piece that takes place maybe even earlier than the 80s themselves. Maybe it takes place kind of like in the 60s. Um, I am with you in the sense that I appreciate the vagueness of it. I think there was a brief moment though when it is revealed the idea of like the Rock tapping into sort of like the mind flayer that in turn then sort of like possesses Henry. Um,
Mm.
the reveal I thought was pretty interesting. But there was a part of me that wanted to know like more, like because it's not necessarily the upside down, but it is like the abyss. And so I am kind of curious as to like who discovered that abyss. Somebody clearly did, right? Like clearly there was a group of scientists that discovered this. Did they based off of what the scientists told Henry, how much experimentation did they do with the rock? Were they fully aware of this abyss kind of world existing? Was anybody else kind of experimented on and tapped into? Like, has this mind flayer been attached to kind of anybody else before? So, there's a level of like sci-fi and government sort of experimentation that I think is really interesting, especially if you go further back in regards to like the 60s and stuff. So I do think that there's a level of more mystery to kind of unfold, but I do like the way that it was kind of teased, at least here in the season finale. So I would be perfectly okay with this. I do like the idea of it. If anything, I think this series finale makes me want to go see the stage play a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
because I do think it explores like Henry's origins and stuff. And so, whether or not this particular scene is in the stage play, I definitely want to learn more now. So I'm okay with this. I love the idea of them continuing, especially if it's going to be a fresh new idea with fresh new characters. The idea of them, the Duffer Brothers seem like they have like an endless pit of creativity when it comes to this world. And if there's anybody that I know is going to have well thought out ideas and creatively give us a beginning, middle, and end to the stories that they want to tell, I'm perfectly okay with this. I don't expect them to be like the showrunners, though. I think if anything, maybe they might be the writers, and then they give showrunner duties to somebody else and other directors and things like that. Because I do believe that they have um, other projects with Paramount. I think they signed like an exclusive deal with Paramount. So this seems like something that they're writing and trying to finish the script on before they move on to other things. But anything the Duffer Brothers want to do, I'm really open to at this point. I had a fantastic time with the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to a potential spinoff. Oh, shout out to Frankie also, man. Shout
Ooh.
out to Frankie coming through with a $5 super chat. Really goes a long way, man. So thank you so much. We had Kiki and Luca today, and now Frankie certainly coming through with the super chat. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'm ready for more Stranger Things, Stuart. And for those of you who are curious, if you did have the opportunity to check out the series finale, Stuart and I will be doing a spoiler discussion for you guys tomorrow evening. So look forward to that. If anything, we'll probably be talking about the series finale and maybe our overall thoughts on the final season. Also, before we go, Stuart, it's kind of impromptu, but
Mm-hmm.
now that we've had the opportunity to sit down with all 5 seasons, I thought it would be fun to maybe rank our 5.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
Now that we've had the opportunity to sit back and kind of watch it, we've had damn, it's literally taken us 10 years to finish 5 seasons of Stranger Things, but very much well worth it. I had the luxury of rewatching all of these seasons before getting to season 5, so they feel relatively fresh in my head. So I thought let's rank our top 5 seasons of Stranger Things, Stuart, if you're down for that.
I'm definitely down.
Let's see, can I bring this up in that way? Let me see something. No, I think it'll. Dang it! I'm just trying to see if we have a better view of this. But do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first.
Um, this is kind of hard for me. I'm not gonna lie. I for the longest time, Stranger Things, the first season, just kind of lived in my brain forever. Um, you know, man, this might be blasphemy to say. At the time, I think because of its cultural impact, the first season of Stranger Things does a lot of amazing things. Um, it kind of really hit that nostalgia aspect of like Steven Spielberg-esque sort of filmmaking. And but I think the more and more I watch it, while I enjoy it, I don't know if it's my favorite season anymore. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go season 3. Season 3 is actually one of my favorites. Upon rewatching it, the use of Max's brother Billy, learning a little bit more about Billy's past, a little bit more involvement into the Wheeler family's mother, seeing our kids like grown up into their adolescence, like living the high school life, going to the mall and stuff. Like maybe because like that like just the 80s like clothing and stuff, seeing like 11 and Mike being in love, and how they just feel really fully fleshed out in the season. Like they not to say they've got it all together, but I don't know. I love that this was sort of like a new era for them, if you will, that really hit for me. And I thought that action was great. So Stranger Things season 3 is probably going to be my favorite. So that's number 1. Number 2 is probably going to be season 4. Season 4 I thought was incredible. I did have some issues with it. Maybe not necessarily my favorite characters. Like I didn't really care for the Jonathan and his stoner buddy story. I mean, it was he was funny. He was funny. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. He had his humorous moments. But like I don't know what it was about it. But like the Vecna, the Eddie, seeing the situation with the Max and stuff. How much these kids had like even further changed in regards to their lives, especially with Lucas being a part of the basketball team and stuff. I think that was to introduce and also to Susie that season. It just a lot of things really came together and kind of worked for me, and learning more about 11. So Stranger Things season 1, Stranger Things season 3, Stranger Things season 4. I then may give this to Stranger Things season 1 as number 3 for me.
Really?
Stranger Things season 1 for me. And then I'm gonna go probably Stranger Things season 5 for me. There are a lot of things that I really enjoyed about Stranger Things season 5. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know yet. But the last season for me would be Stranger Things season 2 would be number 5 for me. It is a season that's actually kind of grown on me per rewatch. I still have issues with the sister episode, but it's like one episode out of 8 or something like that. So it doesn't really deter me much, but I did have a much bigger appreciation for season 2 than I did. But that's probably how I would go. So from 5 to 1, it would be Stranger Things season 2, Stranger Things season 5, Stranger Things season 1, Stranger Things season 4, Stranger Things season 3 as my number 1. What about you, Stuart?
All right. So starting with number 5, I'm definitely going to go with Stranger Things season 2. Okay. I should actually point out before I start talking about any of these, you've watched them a lot more recently than me. So if I say something that like may not be as like what you remember, you definitely have the more vivid memory than me, because I only watched these seasons when they first came out. The only season that I've rewatched is season 1. So yeah, that being said, my number 5 is definitely season 2. I didn't think season 2 was bad. Let me just say that. But, it had a couple episodes I wasn't a fan of, a couple of real cringe moments I wasn't a fan of, such as I did not, when we got introduced to what's his face, the balding dude with the beard, the crazy conspiracy theorist. Dude, that was so creepy the way he was trying to get Jonathan and Nancy to hook up. That made me feel very uncomfortable. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, I think like my biggest issue with season 2 was like that was the one where they really tried to recapture the feeling of season 1, and I just don't think it worked as well as the show wanted. So season 2 would definitely be my number 5. Number 4, season 5. 5. Now I'd say season 5 only because like in terms of like what I think the show could have done, I feel like it could have done a lot more. I think that I think that season 5 did great when it came to the characters, and I'll get a lot more into this when we talk about more spoilers. I just I just feel like the story just took so long to constantly to or like the plot took a while to like get going, and even when it did, it feels like all the big stuff didn't really happen until like the actual season finale. So I think that season 5, it was a good season. I just don't think it was as epic. I think they could have had so much more fun with it had they really thought it through. So season 5. 4 and 3, it's really hard because they both have aspects that I love and dislike, because I feel like 3 and 4 is where the show decides it's no longer trying to be like the cutesy season 1, because now it's like the kids have gotten older. Now they're taking the story, giving it a little more of a mature edge by adding a lot more like kind of violence, a lot more gore, especially with like the monster that we see at the end of 3. So it's really hard for me to say between those two. I think I'm going to go with 4 as my number 3, only because in season 4, that was when we had the entire Russian subplot that just, oh my gosh, it just felt so boring. It dragged. I did not care for it at all. But everything else about that season was great. In terms of Jonathan's friend, I loved him. I thought he was exactly what the season needed for that comedic relief. I wasn't a fan of Jonathan himself.
I wasn't a fan of Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly. Like I definitely agree with that. I feel like they just didn't know what to do with him, like this whole like seasons 4 and 5. So they were just like, here we go, we're gonna make him a stoner, so we have an excuse not to add any personality to him. That's where it felt like they were going with it. So season 3 would then be the next one. Everything about that season was great. I wasn't a fan of how much Hopper kind of went from being like kind of the fun kind of douchebag to like suddenly being kind of
the overbearing parent.
Yeah, like the overbearing part didn't bother me too much. It was just that where he went with that, like how far he went with it, and just I didn't like the way he talked to Joyce that season. I didn't like how that he was finally like expressing interest in her, but like when she was worried about all this other stuff, I didn't like the way that he ignored her. It felt very out of character for me.
Yeah, really self-centered for him.
Yeah, he was self-centered. That's exactly it. He was way too self-centered in season 3 in a way that just felt very out of place compared to what we had seen before. So that was like my only issue with number 3. So 3 would be my number 2. And then of course, I don't think anyone's surprised here. Season 1 is my favorite by far. It is the one that I've actually rewatched. I think I've rewatched it twice, actually. I don't remember if it's 2 or 3 times. Oh my God, absolutely loved everything about season 1. Like, I mean, and I think season 1 of Stranger Things, it's a perfect television show in of itself. If it had ended there, I would have been totally fine with it. Because even though it had like kind of those little bits of mystery lingering at the end, totally think that they could have ended it there and things would have been amazing. Not that I wish they ended it there. I have no problem with the show continuing for 4 more seasons, but it was just such a perfect series on its own in season 1. So that's my ranking.
Yeah, no, I love your ranking. I think maybe because I've rewatched Stranger Things so many freaking like season 1 so many times. I think the only reason, and I would like to say my first 3 seasons 3, season 4, season 1, like these are all really close to me. Like all these are really close. There's really not a distance until I get to season 5 and then season 2. But all the first 3 are just like really, really close to me. So I love your ranking also, Stuart. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts, and we'll definitely talk more about season 5 as a whole when we get to our spoiler review tomorrow night for you guys. But let us know your thoughts in regards to your rankings of the Stranger Things seasons.
Yeah, I'm honestly like surprised, but also I love the fact that season 1 wasn't your number 1.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, I think I just felt like the stakes were so much higher in the other seasons. But there is an aspect of like the kids, the relationship between Mike and Eleven that's just fascinating to me from season 1. it is a great scene. Like, and again, I think that's why it's just like I've seen it so many times. Maybe it's a nostalgia factor in regards to why I love it. But when I take a step back and I look at it, like while there's like Barb, the whole situation with Barb, I mean, it's a really compelling thing of television. But there is something about seeing the kids a little bit more fully grown and the threats continuing to get bigger, and some of the side characters that are introduced in seasons 3 and 4 that just really kind of put it a little bit more over the top. You might be right in the sense that there's probably maybe more things wrong with seasons 3 and 4 than if you go back and watch season 1, in the sense of like, man, it just hits like every note perfectly, every ending to each episode just kind of works. But I don't know, there's just a level of pure enjoyment that I feel like I get even more out of seasons 3 and 4, maybe because I've been attached to those characters a little bit longer. um that just kind of put it over the top for me. But yeah, 1 through 3 for me is really close. But yeah, we'll see if people hate me for my ranking. Who knows?
How dare you not put season 1 as your favorite? Canceled.
Yeah. And with that out of the way, Stuart, let's move on to another topic here today. We're going to go back to back Avatar, but this is going to be Avatar from James Cameron, and then we're going to get into Avatar: The Last Airbender. But up first, Avatar: Fire and Ash, fresh off of hitting $1 billion here at the global box office. Can you check where it's at right now, Stuart? If you could go to Box Office Mojo, I'm kind of curious to know where this is at. The Fire and Ash released in theaters the week before Christmas. It's still in theaters. If you haven't had the opportunity to check it out, I think you'll really be a big fan of it. I personally enjoyed it really well. And after the way that Avatar: Fire and Ash ends, if I could be honest with you, it could feel like a culmination of a trilogy well done. And if James Cameron wanted to put this to bed, he certainly could. James Cameron is on record of saying that he kind of wants to put the pen down a little bit for Avatar and start working on some other things, specifically a new Terminator movie. So the question does come up as to whether or not we would even get Avatar 4 and 5, even though we do, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe some scenes have already been filmed for Avatar 4. So, how long production would take, when 4 and 5 would even get back into production is an interesting one. But this week, James Cameron did talk about the potential for Avatar 4 and 5. And the fact that if it doesn't get made, Stuart, he may just spoil it for everybody. So let's see what he's talking about here. Let's bring this up. This comes to us from Entertainment Weekly. There we go. Saying that if Avatar 4 and 5 don't happen, James Cameron vows to hold a press conference to reveal the plot details. There's a plan in the back of Cameron's head in the event the sequels don't move forward. So since the kickoff of Avatar: Fire and Ash press tour, the writer-director surprisingly pumped the brakes on sequel talk, even though Disney already set release dates for the next 2 installments. Avatar 4, a small portion of which Cameron and some of the key cast already shot during production of 2 and 3, is currently on the calendar 4 years from now, in 2029. Avatar is then planned for 2023. He says, I don't know if the saga goes beyond this point. I hope it does. But, we prove that business case every time we go out. If it turns out the sequels don't move ahead after all, Fire and Ash so far has made $480 million globally just 1 week out. The 3-time Oscar winner has a plan in place. He says, here's what it is. If we don't go to make 4 and 5 for whatever reason, I'll hold a press conference and I'll tell you what we were going to do. How's that? Cameron's other fantasy is to novelize the Avatar movies and to write them himself, noting there's so much culture and backstory and lateral detail in these characters that's been worked out. I'd love to do something that's at the level of granular detail. However, he acknowledges there's no business model for it anymore. People aren't reading. The filmmaker is referring to a new study conducted by researchers at the University of Florida and University College London that stated the number of Americans who read for pleasure dropped 40%. But anyway, it might be good to have the canonical record of what it was all supposed to be. So for whatever reason, Stuart, he says if Avatar, Fire and Ash just don't make the money that it's supposed to from a business standpoint, that if they don't get greenlit, he may just hold a press conference revealing the plot details of what was supposed to happen, and then in turn maybe even give us a novel for both of these. And look, as somebody myself personally that does love a good Star Wars novel, I probably would pick these up just to go ahead and read them if he ever were to do this. I'm definitely not part of that 40%. I may not read as often as I may not read for every day, but I definitely try and go through like 2 or 3 books a year if possible. But how do you feel about this, Stuart? What is the box office for Avatar right now? Do you think that they would go ahead and make a green light a 4 and 5? Or do you think it will come to the point of James Cameron just having to be like, fuck it, I'm just going to reveal it to everybody? What do you think?
First of all, worldwide gross is 1.8 billion. Domestic
1.8?
Yeah.
Or is that 1.08?
1.08. Sorry.
Oh my God.
My bad.
Oh shit.
The domestic gross was 306 million. International gross was 777 million dollars. So yeah, it's definitely hit its $1 billion, which is why I almost 110% believe Disney is going to greenlight 4 and 5. The only thing stopping these movies from being made are James Cameron, whether or not he has like a script from them or not. Him wanting to move on to novels, though, actually doesn't surprise me too much, because I was like watching this interview with Guillermo del Toro. I had no idea that he and James Cameron were like really good friends with each other, but apparently, yeah, back in the 90s, they used to hang out and watch anime together all the time. But yeah, like, yeah, but apparently, like Guillermo del Toro was saying that he like saw like James Cameron's like notes for Avatar in the early 2000s, and yeah, like basically there is a lot of like lore that which is unsurprising because this is something that James Cameron himself has been saying for a long time. But there's a lot that you don't like see or hear about, much like most sci-fi or fantasy movies that like it's there, the writers have it in mind, but it's not something that really gets explored in the movies themselves, because obviously, the whole point of a movie is you got to kind of keep to the plot and all that kind of stuff. So you don't really have time to explore like a lot of the world building aspects, all that effort that really goes into fleshing out the world and making it feel more lived in. So I could definitely see like novel spinoffs for Avatar working extremely well. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But no, I don't think Disney is going to, turn down Avatar 4 and 5. Like, in fact, if anything, I see Disney wanting to basically try to convince James Cameron to maybe make it 6 movies instead of 5.
Wow. That would be pretty crazy if we made it 6 movies instead of 5. I think the only thing stopping James Cameron, it would be James Cameron, honestly. Yeah. I mean, the man is 71 years old right now. Not to say there's an age limit to being a director or creator. I mean, look at Ridley Scott. I mean, my man is like 80 something years old right now, and he's still out here kind of making movies. And so, James Cameron just continues not to miss. I mean, look, you can look at the movie and say, look, $1 billion just isn't enough to being greenlit. I mean, to be fair with you, I have a feeling like Avatar will probably still be in movie theaters for like another month at least. Avatar has always been known to have legs instead of like really quick, impactful starts. So the fact that it's taken it 3 weeks to make $1 billion, again, it's not like movies make a billion on a regular basis these days. But some people would say, well, the last Avatar movie made like $2 billion. I would be interested to see where Avatar is after its completed run. If this movie ends at, I don't think it's going to end at 1.3. I think if anything, maybe 1.5, 1.8. I guess I would, if I'm Disney, I would just ask, when a budget like this for an Avatar movie is like $400 million, I guess the big question would just be, what's our return on investment? Um, and will the next movies continue to sort of underperform? It will continue to depreciate after each installment. To Avatar: The Way of Water's benefit, it did have like a 20-year layoff, like, or 10-year layoff from the first Avatar movie. And so there was certainly a lot riding on it. I look at it like The Force Awakens, crushed the box office after it being such a long time we had a Star Wars movie. That's how I view Avatar, right? Like, I don't think anything would have matched the box office for Avatar 2, just because of the separation of time from each of them. And so I think if Avatar 3 makes 1.5, $1.8 million or something like that, I think Disney should certainly look at that as a win and push forward with a 4 and 5. These movies certainly aren't going to get any cheaper, but I do think from a technological standpoint, they probably would be pretty stunning to watch. I mean, I watched this in Dolby 3D, and the high resolution was incredible. Like, it really worked for me. I love the movie from a visual standpoint. And I also think it probably would benefit the fact that there's going to be like a 4-year gap, if that even holds true, between Avatar 3 and 4. The time off might benefit it, because I do think you are coming off of Fire and Ash, which I think, I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. It may be the lowest of the trilogy, which is astounding to me, because I really do think it's much better than The Way of Water. So I think people that have watched Fire and Ash will go into Avatar 4 with a level of like reinvigoration because of how good this last entry certainly was. So yeah, I think if this movie makes at least $1.5 billion, I do think that Disney will greenlight an Avatar 4. And if anything, I think that does give James Cameron certainly some time to, hey, if he wants to work on Terminator, he can certainly do that. And then revisit Avatar. I mean, maybe it might push Avatar 4 release to another, maybe by an additional year or whatever the case may be. But I do think the time between these movies would benefit Avatar more than anything. It may not be a high grossing domestic movie, but I do think that this Avatar is a global sort of phenomenon that regardless of how it's received domestically, there are people internationally that absolutely love and adore this franchise. And I think that will always uplift it to be somewhat of a financial success. So yeah, I say give me 4 and 5. But the idea of like, even if he still did 4 and 5, there's a part of me that does want an Avatar novel though. Like I wouldn't mind that, just to kind of explore, like you said, it's such a heavy lore and mythology sort of world that James Cameron has kind of created. I think he could very much get into like a Tolkien aspect of things in regards to, a time, on this planet before we even get introduced to it, if he's got that type of layer of history with this world. So yeah, give me 4 and 5 and give me a novel, James. But hopefully if you continue to be around for another 10, 15 years, why not, man? Why not?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's I personally think they're both going to happen. As for the novels, maybe not. Because yeah, like he even mentioned himself, the book market's not as big as it used to be. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that. But yeah, I do hope 4 and 5 happen, especially because I remember specifically an interview where after Avatar 2 had come out into theaters, he had been really hyping up what happens in 4, saying that audiences are going to be blown away by what happens in 4, despite the fact that 3 hadn't even had a trailer yet.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I definitely want to see more for sure. But we'll see how that ends up turning out at the end of the day. Also, I want to give a shout out to Crystal Kyber's in the house today, joining us live. What's up, Crystal? Good to see you. She says, "Oh my God, your shirt! Yeah, that's right, baby. Look at this, the Hut Slayer shirt. Mind
Oh
you, for
yeah.
those of you in regards to Crystal Kyber, she does have her own YouTube channel. She talks makeup design. She talks Star Wars and things like that. She always have a great perspective in regards to things. I mean, she's a little bit of a Renaissance woman herself. She does Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. She's got her own business, Bad Feelings. Check out her t-shirt line, Bad Feeling. She sent me this shirt, Hut Slayer here. It's got a cool like design also at the bottom where it feels like it's like a band performance, like I'm at a concert, where it shows like other like band names and stuff that are going to be like opening for the main act sort of thing. It's kind of dope. It's like a concert flyer almost. Um,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah,
I should actually probably mention this now since she's in the chat. I gotten so many compliments at work with that shirt.
nice, nice. But yeah, check her stuff out, man. She loves talking Star Wars, anything nerdy. She does makeup. She's also got a really great perspective in regards to like makeup design for television shows or movies that she watches. Um, she says James Cameron is talking about a new Terminator. Yeah, he's actually thinking about writing a new Terminator movie. We talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago or something like that. He's trying to crack a story for a new Terminator, so he may be taking some time off from Avatar to explore that world again. Um, Blossom says definitely going to consult with her in terms of makeup. Yeah, definitely go ahead and do so, L'Oreal. She definitely got some incredible tips. But yeah, follow Crystal Kyber on YouTube wherever you can, and hopefully 2026 will have us do some more Star Wars content together for sure. But all right. With that out of the way, Stuart, let's move on from one avatar to the next. As you know, we kind of teased this a little bit when we talked about our most anticipated movies for 2026. And that is, in fact, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, the animated movie that was set to go ahead and release in theaters. Um, we got some news though, some unfortunate news, Stuart. If you are a big fan of the Last Airbender animated series, according to a new report, though, Paramount Pictures has other plans for The Legend of Aang. To the point of instead of it being released in theaters, it is now going to be exclusively on streaming. Boo! Everybody, boo this idea! Boo! Boo
Boo,
this
boo
idea!
Paramount, boo.
According to the Hollywood Reporter here, it says Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender will skip theaters and debut on Paramount Plus alongside the New Haven series. This is an exclusive from them. This was actually released last week. The previous week we were off air, but I figured it was such a big moment or something really big to talk about. I thought we should tackle this. The upcoming feature, The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, will bypass a theatrical debut in theaters in October 2026 and premiere on Paramount Plus as the streamer becomes the exclusive home of all animated content from Avatar Studios, the creative force behind the Nickelodeon series Avatar: The Last Airbender, and ditto for the new series Avatar: Seven Havens. Both animated projects are produced by Avatar Studios. Nickelodeon as a division designed to create a new, ever-growing universe based on the worlds of Avatar and the Legend of Korra. The Avatar universe has captivated audience for 2 decades, and Paramount Plus is proud to be the exclusive streaming home for its beloved animated incarnation. Um, Seven Havens represents the next evolution of storytelling from Avatar Studios, along with The Legend of Aang, bringing together remarkable talent both in front of and behind the camera. Um, so yeah, Stuart, it looks as though when it comes to the Legend of Aang, the Last Airbender movie, taking a step back from releasing it in theaters and has solely decided to make this a streaming exclusive. As a big Avatar fan here on the channel, I need to know your thoughts about this, man.
All I can say is that in that same article, Paramount's like, we're proud to be the one streaming platform for Avatar Last Airbenders. Like, proud my ass, because if you were proud of owning that content, you would be releasing it in theaters to advertise the fact that you exclusively own that content. So yeah, no, that is some BS there. Yeah, I'm not happy with the fact that it's not going to be going to theaters. Not only as an Avatar fan, but also just like the fact that we don't get 2D animated movies in theaters anymore. Like, that's just not a common thing at all. And usually when we do, it's usually anime. It's usually like kind of something from Studio Ghibli or an anime movie. Like Demon Slayer or Chainsaw Man this year. But yeah, like in general, like when it comes to American productions, you don't see 2D animation anymore. And it's not that I have anything against 3D animation. I don't, but like I always hate it when innovation means replacement. And I don't think that even though I love 3D animation, I don't think it should have ever replaced 2D animation. I think there is a world where they both could have coexisted side by side. And I feel like Avatar: The Last Airbender going into theaters could have been proof of that. Because I do think I don't think this would have broken like records or anything like that, but it would have been a success. I do think it would have. There are enough Avatar fans that would have definitely gone to see this in theaters, and a lot of them are now adults and have kids, and they would have loved to have taken their kids to see this on the big screen. So yeah, this is incredibly disappointing news. I still look forward to the movie itself, but man, I am so disappointed that this isn't coming to theaters, and especially with how much I've been like hyping this movie up with my coworkers like the last year. Because I thought this was coming out in like 2025 last year. So I remember like, hyping it up, saying we're gonna get Avatar in theaters, guys. I hope we get it at our theater, guys. This is gonna be so great. And then of course, now it's not happening. Shame on you, Paramount. Shame on you.
Yeah, shame. Everybody boo
Shame.
them. Shame.
Yeah, dude. Get like recreate that scene from Game of Thrones with the bell, but like, put Paramount's logo in front. Shame.
Yeah, Crystal says so true, Stu. I would have single-handedly brought those box office numbers up. While I don't watch Avatar like that, you guys can boo me too. I am surprised by this. And I'm really surprised because it's one of those things where I just don't know if the numbers add up to make this a financial, like, good bet for them. Like, I get the idea of wanting to build some awareness and attention towards your streaming service. Like, man, if we release this on this, we're gonna get so many subscribers because of it. But I almost think you undercut yourself in regards to doing that, because when I go to Google and I look up anime movies for 2025's box office, Demon Slayer was huge. It made $790 million globally, one of the most profitable animated movies ever. $790 million globally. Chainsaw Man earned $180 million worldwide. They even have Detective Conan. I have no idea who Detective Conan is. But bringing in $162 million globally. According to Google, 2025 is the first year anime films crossed $1 billion at the global box office in regards to revenue. So this just don't make no sense to me. It just feels like you're just leaving money on the table. And granted, while I know the Avatar: The Last Airbender is a domestic, US sort of anime, domestically, I think this movie would have crushed it. And then there's no way you can't tell me that despite it being a US anime, that it still doesn't have impact globally. Like, I'm sure people globally know about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And so, like, they even have the Netflix show on the live action Netflix show also that reaches sort of globally. So it's like people are aware of who Aang is and The Last Airbender. And so if anything, I would think you would want to release this in theaters to build off of the success of what 2025 meant from a box office standpoint, make a ton of money, and then utilize that success at the box office to then draw people to your streaming service in the sense that if
Yes.
you want to watch it again, or if you missed it in theaters, you heard how successful it was, you got to come to us. And so all those subscribers that you thought you were going to get from just exclusively releasing it there, you then in turn have just like, you've added more subscribers. Like there's no way you can't utilize the theatrical global release as a way to add more subscribers to your streaming service. Like it would just go hand in hand. So it's just like, why are we allergic to money? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Same thing with Netflix. Like, why aren't you releasing these movies in theaters? Like, are you allergic to money that way? Like, who turns this kind of stuff down? It really doesn't make really any sense to me. And it seems really kind of short-sighted, and like you're just not reading the tea leaves here, because anime is continuing to get more and more popular. And I think with this being 2025 being one of the more historical box offices for anime, I would think that would be a signaling sign. Like, yeah, we probably should release this in theaters. So, Paramount has been so focused on trying to acquire Warner Brothers that it feels like they've completely forgot, oh, we actually have to make business decisions for Paramount. Like, we really have to make smart decisions and actually create, good movies. Like, let's release a good movie first, Paramount. And then, let's see if you should acquire anything else under the sun here, because this feels like shooting themselves in the foot, Stuart.
I like Marcelino's theory. Paramount saw the numbers declined on Paramount Plus after they kneeled to fascism. So in order to raise the numbers, they made it a Paramount Plus exclusive.
I mean, maybe that's what their fear is. But in turn, again, the idea I would think would be, hey, let's release this in theaters, because if we release it in theaters and it is a box office hit and a success, that will in turn bring even more people to Paramount Plus. So it just, maybe it was a quick decision on their part, because they're like, oh, our numbers are down right now, but it's like, dude, you're capping yourself. Like you're really limiting the exposure that you have. And so, yeah, I think this is a terrible decision. I really do.
I do too, because I think I mostly do agree with you 100%. Like if you released it in theaters, you would have had the best of both worlds. You would have had the box office numbers, and you would have had free advertising for your streaming service, and gotten to advertise the fact that there's more Avatar to come in the future. So I don't know what they were thinking pulling this from theaters.
Yeah, I really don't either. And you know what? Real shout out to Crystal also. I swear to you, Crystal, I literally, when I put this shirt on today, I was thinking about you, and I was thinking, I'm going to go ahead and promote this shirt on today's show and talk a little bit about Crystal. And the fact that you literally popped up on today's show while I'm wearing this, it's like it was meant to be. It was meant to be. So I really do appreciate you coming through. So again, guys, check out Bad Feeling. It's her t-shirt line. She's doing great stuff over there, along with her YouTube channel. But yeah. All right. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to The Legend of Aang moving from theaters to streaming exclusively. Let us know your thoughts. And with that out of the way, Stuart, we got one more topic to get into before we get into our live viewer questions. Show's running a little bit long here, but it's okay. It's our first of the year. So let's have some fun with this one. Next up, guys, look, the Power Rangers reboot is coming. Go Power Rangers! I'm so pumped for this. I am so pumped for this. My little boy even loves singing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme at this point. He hasn't watched the lick of the show, honestly, but he heard the theme song, and it's hooked in his head. He absolutely loves it now.
Dude, that reminds me of did you ever watch the Nostalgia Critic back in the day? Or I guess he still does videos, but I remember like one gag from his early episodes was that he didn't like Power Rangers, and so he did a video top 11 best theme songs, and he got to Power Rangers, and he was like, yes, I know I hate Power Rangers, but I'm not going to deny that theme song is amazing. But as soon as the theme song ends, so does my tolerance for the show.
I mean, the theme song is like crack. I mean, once you inject it into your veins, it's just hooked. And my little 4-year-old is proof of that. The kid heard it like 2 times, and then next thing you know, he's in my room just humming it and singing it to himself. And every time I hear him singing, I gotta put it on just to get his expression. But Power Rangers is in fact coming back. We do know that the original showrunners for Percy Jackson, wrong franchise, Percy Jackson and the Olympians are in fact on board to go ahead and helm the new Power Rangers reboot series. They have confirmed that. We have reports that production should be going on in early 2026. So I would assume anytime in January, February, or March, that means maybe January. I believe Ricky might have confirmed that for us earlier in honorable mentions. But with production right around the corner, Stuart, you know what that means? Casting, baby. Casting is underway. So let's talk about it a little bit. This comes to us from Mega Power Brazil. And I'm going to go ahead and also confirm this with our boy Jinsaku, so you guys would know. But new names emerge in the race for the cast of the new Power Rangers series in Disney Plus. This is a new Power Rangers series on Disney Plus, has once again stirred up the fan community on social media. In a post published by our trusted insider here, also Jinsaku, stated that the casting process is still underway, but revealed 4 names that are reportedly being considered for the franchise's new project. He actually went ahead and revealed 6 names, but we'll talk about that here. According to the profile, Sean Dixon from Vampirina, Paris Bravo from Stay Out, Jude Goodstein from Miracle on 74th Street, and Momana Tamada from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He also included Kira McLean from Law and Order, along with Christian Alexander Cruz from New Girl, are reported in the mix, meaning that they are among the actors being considered for the roles in the new production. To date, no official information has been confirmed by the studio. It is unclear what roles the actors would take on, and even if they would all be vying for spots as Rangers or other important characters in the plot. It is worth noting that names of Momana, Paris Bravo, Kira McLean, and Christian Cruz have already been mentioned by other insiders previously. So let me bring up a couple of these real quick for you guys, so you can see what the cast themselves look like. I'm not too familiar, but with some of these actors, but if you follow certain shows, maybe you have seen them before. So this is Sean Dixon, where the article does state that he is from, I think it's a Disney show, Vampirina. So Sean Dixon's name has popped up. We also have, I believe this is Paris Bravo. She's from, I don't know if Stay Out is a movie or not, or if it's a series. We also have, is the next one Jude? Yeah, Jude Goodstein. For a second here, I thought this was the kid from Welcome to Derry for a second. I don't know why he almost looked like that kid, Rich, to me for a second. But Jude Goodston from The Miracle on 74th Street. I'm assuming that's a Christmas movie, perhaps. I don't know. And then Momana Tamada from Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix series. I don't know who she plays in the series. Is she? I don't think she's Toph. Is she? Or who do you think? Who is she? Who does she play? Do you know?
Let me double check. Sorry, give me just 1 minute. How do you spell her name?
Momamo, Momoma, Tamada, Tamada.
All right, and who was she? She was Ty Lee. Yeah, Ty Lee from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Was that? Wait, that was one of Azula's friends, right? The flexible one. think, yeah, her role was like relatively small in Avatar in the first season, but if they're going by the cartoon, it'll definitely be a much bigger role in season 2. Okay,
Gotcha.
cool.
And then he also does go on to confirm Christian Alexander Cruz, who the article again states from New Girl. And then you also have Kira McLean, who the article states is from Law and Order. I'm not too familiar with really any of these actors, but
Mm.
he does go on to say in his one of his posts that again, take these with a grain of salt. These are names that have been revealed to him, so whether or not they're like on the short list or if they are in fact confirmed for these roles that he's not sure about, but these are the names that are going around right now. Things can certainly change. I mean, we had you guys saw this firsthand if you're a Power Ranger fan with Ninja Storm, how we had a Yellow Ranger specifically announced,
Oh
and
yeah.
then come to find we got ourselves a brand new Yellow Ranger by the time production actually started. So yeah, take this with a grain of salt. But these are the names that not only Jinsaku is revealing, but other insiders as well. What their roles are, if they're Power Rangers or if they're other characters in the series, we'll have to wait. But that's about as close to new information from Power Rangers as we got, ladies and gentlemen.
That is that is really funny because yeah, when we had like the whole cast, they completely changed it very last minute. Okay, so the number one thing I appreciate about this is that I only recognize, and even then only kind of recognized one of them. So that's what I think you kind of need for like a Power Ranger show. I think that Power Rangers should be the show where you introduce new up and coming actors. So if this is like, the cast that we're getting, or if these are just people that audition for it, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Definitely, again, very much feels like it should be an opportunity for new up and coming actors, and I think that as long as you have a good, competent director behind it, it shouldn't matter if the actors are very new to the whole scene.
Which one are you semi familiar with?
Oh, the one that played Ty Lee from Avatar. But again,
Oh,
it's like it's been like I don't remember too well how much of a role she had in it because because again her character has a much bigger role in season 2.
I am kind of curious. I would agree with you in the sense of like um unknown actors. I don't necessarily know if I knew of anybody from Percy Jackson. Um like the main three, what they had maybe been in previous to that. So when I look at them, they seem like fresh faces to me. So I don't know if they've had any major roles prior to that. So maybe that's what the showrunners of Percy Jackson are used to in the sense of taking fresh faces and helping making them bigger stars than they already are in regards to that.
With Percy Jackson, though, like I didn't recognize the actress that played Annabeth or the actor that played Grover, but I did, of course, recognize Percy Jackson himself because he was young Ryan Reynolds in that what was that movie called, Future Man or something
Oh,
like that.
okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was pretty good. It was like there was this whole interview where like he was showing off like how much he's watched Deadpool 2. So he literally did the entire narration of Deadpool 2, the very beginning part of the movie, where Ryan Reynolds is just like looking at him like, should a kid be talking like this?
I love it. I love it. Crystal says I've been doing a Power Ranger movie rewatch. It's so fun and nostalgic. Yeah, that first Power Ranger movie from the '90s still really hits for me. That and the rebooted movie, I'm a big fan of. She says, "Spoiler alert: Tylee will be the Yellow Ranger." Just kidding. I mean, if we're going based off of traditional Mighty Morphin Power Ranger themes, you might be right. You might be right.
I mean,
Uh,
if they go with like exactly how it was in the 90s version of the show, then yeah, but I don't know. It depends on how like Disney, because I don't think Disney
they're
would do
gonna
that. I
avoid it.
think,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
gonna avoid it.
exactly. I think they
I mean,
want to
she's just
avoid
kidding,
like
but it
any
is
kind
funny.
of, yeah. I
Yeah.
think Disney's the kind of company that wants to avoid any potential controversies, and understandably, I think that yeah, that's something they're going to try to avoid again.
Blossom says, I'm still unsure about the reboot, understandably so.
Yeah.
understandably. Says Sean is kind of cute. Not Johnny Young Bosch or Chance Perez cute, but still. So just I like it. I like it. Nice comparisons there. But yeah, I'm glad I'm glad we got some progress that is certainly happening behind the scenes here. I can't wait for this to kind of go into production and just to kind of see what it's going to be. Real quick, also, this popped up. I'm not going to take too long with this, but this did pop up when I was on one of the main websites. But Hasbro launches a channel featuring Power Rangers and other classics. Hasbro Legends says, riding the stream wave, Hasbro launched its own channel featuring classic shows, including the iconic Power Rangers. Currently available only in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom, the Hasbro Legends channel will be home to classic productions from the toy giant. Hasbro Legends falls into the category of fast channels, which are channels within other platforms with fixed programming and commercial breaks offered free of charge. The channel is available on Plex, and its programming includes classic seasons of Power Rangers, VR Troopers, and also Big Bad Beetleborgs. So yeah, it looks like they're using the Plex platform. I'm not too familiar with Plex, but maybe it's one of those like one of those providers that like have a different like a ton of different channels, and maybe it's on that like it says a fast channel, so maybe it's on this. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but you ever like some of those platforms that you watch, they have like all these different channels and then they play like replays of like old stuff or within a particular theme. I think it might be something along those lines, but it is available in the United States if you guys want to try and find Hasbro Legends. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, what's up, Daniel? Good to see you. Appreciate you coming through. All right. But other than that, that will do it, guys, for all of our main topics today. Thank you guys so much for certainly joining us here today, man. It's we've had some great cameos pop up in our live chat today, which has been fantastic. Some great returning members, some great super chats here. But with that out of the way, Stuart, I think you know what time it is.
I do indeed. And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're going to get into our live viewer questions portion of the show. Thank you, Adam and Stuart. So fun starting a new year with y'all. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you saw us live and decided to jump in, Crystal. You know, I am working on trying to. This laptop has been giving me so many damn issues. I was going to try and fix it over the holidays, but I got to replace the fan on my computer. So I'm either going to purchase a brand new fan. I'm actually in the process right now of trying to see if I can find like a refurbished PC because I really would like to get like a desktop or something that I can maybe add to it over time if I need to. Because I really want something that's a little bit more secure than my laptop in regards to getting everything that I really need done on here. But 2026, I do want us to start this damn Star Wars podcast. Because come 2027, I need us at Star Wars Celebration. I'm just saying, I need us at Star Wars Celebration. You hear me? So yeah, we'll definitely do a ton more stuff together, Crystal. But thank you for coming through. All right, guys. Now look, we are at the live viewer question portion of the show. If you ever want to submit a live viewer question over, how do you go about doing so? Well, let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you guys. So just go over to our YouTube channel, as you see right here. Voila. Every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, I will go ahead and make a live viewer question post. Just click on that post tab right here. And voila, live viewer questions. We got 11 comments. Let's see if we can blaze through some of these real quick, Stu.
Of course.
And first up today, we've got AJ and the Morphing Grid coming through. Rumors of the Triassic Ranger. The initial plans for Dino Thunder involved the character Devon receiving the powers of the Triassic Ranger, which would have established him as the show's sixth Ranger. This would have provided a compelling personal storyline for Devon, forcing him to keep his identity secret from his best friend Cassidy Cornell, an aspiring news reporter obsessed with uncovering the Rangers' identities, before their eventual reveal in the series finale. This concept, however, was abandoned when the source material, Abba Ranger, revealed that a Bear Max was merely a power up for the Red Ranger, Abba Red, due to limitations in Japanese footage. Ultimately, the Triassic Ranger was given to the Red Ranger, Connor McKnight, who later received a Power Rangers exclusive Battleizer armor. Do you think Devon's secret identity storyline would have been more interesting than what the show ultimately delivered with the Triassic Ranger just being a power up of the Red Ranger?
Because yeah, I heard that before. But personally for me, I just liked it the way it was. I liked it just being a power up instead of like a whole new character. I think that would have just kind of like added more that like just didn't need to be added, if that makes sense.
I get you. I don't know. I might have been open to the concept. I wouldn't have minded seeing something like that. I mean, Dino Thunder was really great as it was. They had already some really compelling storylines, so maybe the addition of Devin and his own kind of storyline plot might have bogged down things, or maybe a little bit too many moving parts. So I don't know. Maybe it was for the best overall, but I don't know. Part of me wouldn't have minded it. Oh, who knows? We'll never know.
Yeah. I,
Marcelino. Oh, good.
oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think like that's why I'm glad we didn't, because we already know that without it, Dino Thunder was a great season, but we still have that uncertainty of if they had added it, would it have still been a great season?
Yeah, Marcelino says I like Devin and Cassie the way they were, and I like their development from not just being comedic goofs, but characters with goals. So yeah, I mean, I do think that they probably nailed the usage of it. Um, Marcelino, cartoons like Batman, Cape Crusader, My Adventures with Superman, Your Friendly Neighborhood, Spider-Man prove that rather than adapting the comics, you can just put the characters in a different setting and tell new stories with new interpretations of their cast. So, which superhero do you want to see get the same treatment, and which setting you want it to be set in?
Hmm.
I was thinking about this today because I did see this question beforehand. Um, the first thing that always comes to mind for me is like the cartoon characters that I grew up with, like the Iron Man series or the Incredible Hulk series, or even like the brief Fantastic Four series, even like Silver Surfer and stuff. But I was thinking like, they revived Spider-Man. They've already revived X-Men. One of the things I kind of would like to see, I was always a fan of some of the Avengers cartoon series. I wouldn't mind an Avengers cartoon series. I know they're already tackling them in regards to live action, so I don't know if they would ever do an Avengers. But similar to how like Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, while they already focus in on live action, what they've done from a animated point of view is they've kind of taken the concept of a Civil War from the MCU. Like they've used that particular point and they've kind of flipped it on its head to make it sort of like a multiversal kind of story, but there's still pieces of like, oh, this is familiar from the MCU with the concept of like Civil War being in there. Like I don't know if it's the Accords or the superhero, registration type of thing. So I love how they've taken like a premise of the MCU, but they've made it multiversal and have given us a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I would like to see an Avengers movie. Um, and when he says which setting do you want it to be in, I kind of want it to be in the setting of where Loki escapes. So like after Endgame, we see like there is another timeline of the Avengers where that Loki that they're captured after the invasion of New York escapes. I want to pick up an Avengers animated series from that point with that premise. Like, what does that world of the MCU look like, and how vastly different would it be, and allow them to be able to explore sort of a multiversal Avengers story where they're not bogged down by the events of the MCU, but we can get a really cool MCU, or we can get a really cool Avengers animated series. So then you can introduce brand new characters, brand new storylines, people from the comic books that have never been introduced live action, make them part of the team. West Coast Avengers storyline here, there, your their own version of Wonder Man, or whatever the case may be. Introducing a love triangle between him, Wanda, and Vision. Like, I just think there's a lot of cool things that they can do from that premise. So yeah, give me an Avengers animated series based off of the events of Endgame, where Loki is no longer captured and he actually escapes.
I love it. Oh man, I'm trying to think of one that I would do. So basically a comic book, but basically an animated adaptation of a comic book that doesn't necessarily have to follow any storyline. Like I love the I love the idea of isekaiing certain characters, which I know they kind of did with the Suicide Squad. So I guess like the question would be, what kind of character would I want to see like isekai in what kind of world? I don't know. Oh man, this is actually a really hard question. I guess I would like to see. They had an episode. There's been several comic books like this, but they had an episode of Justice League where it was like Superman sent to the far future, where Vandal Savage had like completely destroyed everything, and it was taken over by a red sun, so he had no powers, and it was just him as a human trying to survive. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that, where like you take a DC character, you put him in like a post-apocalyptic kind of world, or any kind of superhero, one who used to be powerful and used to basically inspire people through their power and through their acts, but now has had that power taken from them, so they have to find a way to continue to inspire people even without that power. So I guess something along those lines, like a depowered Superman type of storyline.
I kind of dig it. Marcelino says, I was expecting something like Wonder Woman in a Victorian era, or Green Lantern being a Black Ops CIA operation. I mean, I have always been fascinated with like the Avengers 1609. I know they tackled that a little bit in What If, but maybe I would make it a little bit different from the What If version of things. Maybe more of a whether that be a comic book accurate 1609 kind of storyline telling that they have already. But I still would want an Avengers, but I mean, I could pick any particular time period, but the medieval times, the 1609s for me, I don't know why, was always fascinating. So I still want an Avengers, but if we're talking about like taking them out of their setting in some way, shape, or form, I still think the 1609 or just any early years. I mean, you could even go I would even be open to the idea of like I don't know what Avengers run this was, but I remember Ed McGuinness was the artist on it. This might have been like a 2010 run or early 2000s run, where it was like the first Avengers team from like prehistoric ages. And so you had an Avengers team that was put together of like the Phoenix, I think a Wolverine was a part of the team, a Black Panther in some way, shape, or form was a part of the team. Something like that would be pretty interesting to me. Just an early rendition of an Avengers team in a different time period.
Ooh, so one other that I could see working is there was a pitch for a comic book, and since this never got made into a comic book, this would technically fit Marcelino's question if they adapted it into an animated show. But Tom King had this pitch for a comic book where it'd be a road trip with Aquaman and a goldfish in a bowl, and like the big joke would be that anytime the goldfish would talk, the audience would just see the bubbles or the thing saying glub glub, but then Aquaman would know exactly what that means, kind of like Groot, I am Groot, but like the characters know exactly what he's saying. So it'd be like that with goldfish. Goldfish would be saying glub glub, and then you'd have Aquaman saying, no, we're not making another stop, or something like that. So that'd be a funny animated show.
Yeah, so this would be So okay, so looking back, I had to look up the storyline here. This is Earth 1 million BC. It says the Avengers of Circe 1 million BC were a group of Earth's mightiest heroes who assembled to vanquish a horde infected celestial. Together, they saved the world more times than Odin can count. So it looks like they had a Ghost Rider, they had their own Star Brand, Incredible Hulk, they had a Black Panther, they had a Thor, they had the Phoenix, and I think it's like a Doctor Strange or maybe that's Doctor Druid. I'm not sure. But it was created by Jason Aaron back in the day. I don't know what time period or like what year this was for the Avengers team, but yeah, give me something like that. Avengers 1 million BC. Let's see what other questions did he have. Did you notice that What If and Marvel Zombies have ruined and nerfed the Infinity Stones? Like Ultron killing Thanos, who has 5 Infinity Stones who has 5 Infinity Stones in seconds. Ultron using the Infinity Stones in other universes when it was directly stated that the stones can only be used in their own universe. Zombie Thanos destroying Stormbreaker with just the Power Stone when in Infinity War Stormbreaker powered through all the Infinity Stones. Captain Marvel being able to hold an Infinity Stone with her bare hands when previously it was shown that holding one will kill you unless you're a higher being like Star-Lord. There's a ton of other examples I could list, but I think you get the point. So yeah, did you notice that in those that they have ruined and nerfed the Infinity Stones? I don't know. I don't. I mean, yeah, I think they're utilized differently, but I just don't like the term ruined. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they could ever ruin the Infinity Stones for me. I just think maybe they're utilized in other stories that maybe don't necessarily live up to the lore that was established in the MCU. But I don't know if I could ever feel the Infinity Stones were nerfed or like ruined for me forever. So like whenever they pop up ever again, that I can't take them seriously. I still always certainly view them as a threat, regardless if they're not necessarily used to their brightest potential. So no, it hasn't ruined it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say I agree that it hasn't ruined it, but I kind of get the point. Like,
Yeah,
it's hard
I
to,
get the point.
yeah, like it's hard to like feel the suspense that the writers would want us to feel if the writers aren't going to be consistent with how the rules work for, their plot devices. So I definitely get it.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly get it. He also said, "Oh, the Infinity Hulk from Marvel Zombies had the power of all the Infinity Stones, yet all he did was punching." I thought that was badass, though. I mean, I thought that was pretty epic, and just seeing him being able to hold all those powers. Yeah, I was always under the impression that it was because he's the Hulk. I mean, I don't know how intelligent he was in the sense of understanding how to fully utilize all of his power. It just felt like it was just really like raw, untapped potential of like his a bit like just his strength alone in regards to what he was capable of doing. Um, I just thought it was badass. It didn't ruin it for me, but I get what you're saying in regards to how the utilization sometimes of it has certainly changed to not necessarily make sense, but yeah. It's okay to me. Anytime I still see the Infinity Stones, I don't. It doesn't take anything away from it for me though.
Yeah.
So DC can't use milestone characters in their adaptation or even any other DC stories because rights issues. They say that milestone characters don't fall under the DC umbrella. And while I don't like how the situation and while I don't like how this situation and idea popped in my head, what's stopping Milestone from just seeking out other studios or even making their own where they can make their own adaptations independent from DC? Like, think about it. Milestone isn't held down by DC, so they can do it if they wanted. But since they aren't, they come across as lazy. It works to it works too because Milestone isn't an intrinsically linked to DC as Spider-Man is to Marvel. They do Sony Sony is doing expect much better. Instead, they are like Universal with Hulk, where they don't want to make a Hulk movie.
I would definitely not say it's like that. I would say it's a more that like because there are people that have mentioned interest in wanting to work on milestone characters. Like I remember Michael B. Jordan specifically saying that he wanted to like be involved in some way as a producer, I believe, when it came to Static Shock. But I think like the main thing is whether or not studios see the value in that. Warner Brothers, I think like the big thing of why they haven't already made a deal with Warner Brothers in terms of other characters that are a guaranteed success. Like I still think Static Shock is a guaranteed success if you were to make that to a movie. And I think the only reason they haven't pulled the trigger on that yet is because they're if you have two different people that own two different IPs, and knowing James Gunn, he would probably want to keep that in the DC universe. I think it would just be that like while it could happen in the future, it's not going to be anytime soon. I think there's just so many hurdles you have to jump through in order to make that happen for Warner Brothers. As for other studios, why they haven't tried to pitch their IPs to other studios, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they had. I don't think it has anything to do with laziness. I just think it's just other studios don't see the potential in milestone comic books, unfortunately. I think there are definitely some that really could like resonate with audiences and could potentially lead to a big budget big box office gross, but it kind of, it's like the studio that you have to hurdle through. And it's like, if you don't have a superhero pitch that's not Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, or Captain America, Iron Man, and the Hulk, it's like they're just not going to care as much.
Yeah, and the rights with the Universal and the Hulk are a little bit different too. Like Universal Pictures holds the distribution rights for any Hulk movie, meaning that and this is according to Google, just to get this right. Disney must offer Universal the first chance to distribute them and share profits, which has stalled solo movies despite Hulk's MCU appearance. So this deal stems from the 2008 film where Universal co-produced and gained distribution rights with the first refusal for um, um, future movies. So I think this is more a case of Disney and Marvel Studios not wanting to do a solo movie for the Hulk because of the fact that it's got to go to Universal. I think this is a case of Marvel Studios and Disney wants to keep all that profit and distribution rights in-house, and they don't necessarily want to share profit with Universal in regards to doing that. So it's not a refusal of Universal to not want to make a movie. I think it's more the refusal of Disney wanting to share profits with Universal in order to distribute and make that movie come to life, if that makes sense. And I don't really know enough about like I really have to sink my teeth into Milestone and like how much of Milestone does DC Comics or DC Studios or even Warner Brothers at this point um, owns. Like, who has the rights in order to be able to do what? Because it's not like Milestones is like a production company where they could just make a movie on their own. At least I don't believe that that's how the rights work. I'll have to look into that, Marcelino. I really need to learn a little bit more about that, but thank you for bringing that up, though. And going back to the Hulk thing and Infinity Stones, he says, if he's just going to punch, how about every punch is different? Like one does time usage, the next one does reality usage. I dig that. I really dig that. I dig that. He says, well, apparently Young Justice is the only DC adaptation that can use milestone characters. I mean, maybe it's something with the animated rights too. I don't. I really don't know too much about the milestone breakdown rights when it comes to DC comic books and Warner Brothers, but I'll look into it some more.
There is a whole thing with the Spider-Man rights that's similar to that, where like they can use Spider-Man in animated projects, but they can't use them in live action.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Blossom, happy New Year, fellas. Did you guys have any New Year resolutions? That is, if you don't mind me asking. I don't think I had any resolutions per se. Yeah, I don't think I had any resolutions per se. I mean, I do have maybe some goals of like maybe trying to find a new job, being able to better provide for my family in 2026. Um, I would like to, I have been thinking about the channel a little bit too in regards to the future of it, where I want this to go. Not to say I'm going to stop doing Hero Report or anything like that, but I'm just trying to figure out ways to maybe tighten things up a little bit, be more on time with things. Um, um, and I don't want to say shrink the channel, but I think maybe a little bit more focused on certain things. But I don't know. 2026, I think is going to be an ever evolving change for Hero Report in some way, shape, or form. Um, it's not going away for sure. I don't want you to not understand what I'm saying, but I do want to put more focus towards it in regards to that first off would have to be, either a PC or a laptop so I can really feel like I'm back on my feet sort of thing. And I think once I have that in place, then I think Hero Report can become a little bit more fleshed out. I mean, I did the redesigning and the rebranding and the logo designs and stuff, and there's more to that I would like to install and maybe a little bit more focused, right? Like whether that be videos on Hero Report. Do I want to start making it even bigger focus of Hero Report on TikTok also? Just to find some ways of stream, like some ways of revenue for the channel and really what I want this channel to kind of be going forward. But outside of the YouTube stuff and Hero Report, really it's just maybe a new job, just more financial support for the family, but nothing too crazy. Anything for you, Stuart?
I got a couple. Like, I definitely want to make it my goal to try to see at least one movie in theaters a week. Because I tried doing that last year and I completely failed. I think last year was like my worst in terms of keeping up with new movies. So I'm gonna try to not make that a problem this year. This year, I'm gonna try to do one movie a week. Also want to make it my goal to start posting on TikTok and Letterbox more about the movies that I watch. And yeah, I wouldn't call this a resolution, but yeah, I'll get a little bit more into this. Actually, this might be a good time to kind of like mention this. Yeah, so basically this month I'm going to be kind of like, thinking about the future because I am getting married this year. So I am going to be thinking like about like whether or not I want to continue my current job or start looking somewhere else. So because of that, just to let everyone here know right now, after this episode, I'll be back for one more video with Adam because we're going to be doing our top 5 movies of 2025. But after that, I am going to be taking a break from Hero Report, so you won't see me throughout the month of January, unfortunately. But I will definitely be back on February. This is not me leaving the show. This is me just needing this month in particular to, start planning things out, both in terms of my wedding and in terms of just like what I kind of want to do going forward in terms of my current career and see other options out there. But yeah, do not worry, anyone. I will not be leaving Hero Report. And in fact, I do still plan on, uploading, no schedule at the moment, but I do plan to upload to my TikTok. If you guys want to follow me there, I'll give information about that at the end of the episode. But yeah, just to let everyone know.
Well, Stuart, there go our ratings for January. I mean, just plummeting, just plummeting. Unsubscribing. Marcelino is never going to watch this show for the rest of the month now. He won't return until February. I mean, the views are because of you, Stuart. Just understand that. Nobody watches me anymore.
That is definitely not true. That being said, I don't know if Indy is still watching, but hey, Indy, come on, Adam's is gonna need another co-host.
I'm gonna need a co-host for this month, Indy. So yeah, help brother out, Indy.
And then when I come back February, the whole trio's back.
Yeah, we need to. I mean, we've been saying this for like a year. Indy's coming back, or like 2 years, maybe even longer. Who knows? But we'll see. But thank you for informing everybody, Stuart. But yeah, so January will definitely be a big adjustment, I think, for the both of us going into 2026. And then when we come back together in February, hopefully things are a little bit more laid out for us. So here's to the both of us, Stuart. That 2026 is very prosperous for us both, my friend.
Yeah.
Marky Parko, nostalgia in films and TV series have become a prevalent Oh, I'm sorry. I've just completely missed you, Blossom. You guys know about Dungeons and Dragons, yeah? Wouldn't it be cool if the Rangers made an episode like the game? I imagine Marchi. Hold on. I imagine Marchianus Mork, or as I call her, Mistress Darkheart, using her monster game pieces and making a D&D board out of the Rangers town. How's that? I kind of dig it.
Yeah, no, that actually feels it feels like something very in line with what could have happened in like kind of a classic episode. I'm surprised they
Yeah,
never
it
did
does.
that.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
okay, here's my
That
pitch for
feels like
that,
a
Billy.
classic MMPR.
Yeah, here's my pitch for that. Billy tries to tries to get everyone into Dungeons and Dragons. They just do not see the appeal. Rita Repulsa, spying on them as usual, decides, all right, what if we raised the stakes? And she turns the game into like, an actual real thing
Yes.
happening. And then end of the episode, after all that, the Rangers are like, maybe there is more to D&D than we thought. And so they're more willing to play, but like Billy's like tuckered out after the end of the episode. So he's like, guys, I think I'm gonna pass. And then they're the ones all disappointed they don't get to play D&D.
Or they play without him,
Oh yeah,
they've gotten so obsessed with it they play without him.
Yeah.
No, I could totally see that, like Billy being the leader of the team, and then like each ranger being like a representation of a different like ranking or like position.
Yes.
That you nailed it, Stuart. You nailed it. There you go, Blossom. There's your idea.
If we had more time, I would go into detail on who would be what class.
Yeah. Marky Parco, nostalgia in films and TV series have become prevalent, yet polarizing trend, with some audiences growing weary of the constant reboots, remakes, and throwbacks, saturating modern media. Conversely, this same yearning for the past fuels enthusiasm for materials like retro video games, where millennials are actively reconstructing childhood setups by purchasing old consoles and reviving forgotten ones. This dual sentiment highlights a complex relationship with the past. While the creative well of Hollywood nostalgia may seem overdrawn to some, the personal and tangible connection to one's own childhood artifacts, like an old video game system, remains strong and appealing. As we see this sustained interest in personal nostalgia, this industry reliance on mass producing nostalgia content risk devaluing the genuine appeal of these cherished memories. Does the industry's reliance on mass-produced nostalgic content risk devaluing the genuine appeal of these cherished memories?
I don't agree with that personally. So let me first say that yes, Hollywood has definitely gotten over reliant on nostalgia. And I will even admit I am part of the problem, because when I see, that Hollywood releases another Alien movie that feels very in line with the original two Alien films, of course I'm going to get excited and go see the movie. So that kind of a thing happens like a lot in Hollywood. And I am kind of one of the suckers that will buy a ticket every time it does. That said, I do think they're very over reliant on it. And I think that because of that, it stops more creative, original projects from going through. However, I do not agree with the notion that milking a project devalues the overall like memories you have of the original project. Disney can pump out as much Star Wars as they want. It can be the worst things, like the internet. It can be the worst thing anyone has ever seen. Nothing Disney makes in regards to Star Wars is ever going to ruin my nostalgic memory of, the original Star Wars franchise. Nothing they can do can possibly do that. I think that, when I was young and immature, in fact, I remember saying this about Dragon Ball Evolution when it came to theaters, I would have had a completely different thought about this. Like, yeah, if they don't make it perfect, it ruins the original, it ruins my childhood, that kind of thing. But as I've matured over time, I will definitely say that was a very cringe take of mine. So, yeah, like I don't I think the idea that like a bad remake or a bad sequel like completely ruins the memory that you had, I find that to be an absolute like ridiculous notion. The only time a memory should be ruined is when you get more context of a specific memory and you realize, oh, this wasn't as cool as we thought it was, that kind of a thing. But I don't think like a bad sequel or a bad reboot should ever ruin that memory you had of a movie like that you had such a fond memory of. A bad, like maybe finding out that the people who wrote the movie were actually terrible people, okay, fair, that's very fair. But like a bad sequel, that shouldn't ruin your nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. When I hear people say stuff like that, like, "Oh, you've ruined my childhood," or like, "Oh, I can't watch the stuff there and look at it the same again," like I just roll my eyes. Like that's just so ridiculous. Like it's just so ridiculous. Um, yeah, I look, look, nostalgia still hits, unfortunately. It's a reason why these reboots and sequels and revivals, make so much money, because nostalgia does sell. I mean, I would like to see Hollywood do things like Stranger Things. I think is a really good example of like nostalgia bait, but giving you something fresh and new.
Yes.
Like themes or aspects of or like feelings that you get, that feel very nostalgic in the sense of like, oh, when I watched the first Stranger Things, it felt very Spielberg-esque to me, but it was still a really interesting new storyline and things like that. So, the premise of it or like the feelings of nostalgia, I think that's fine as long as you attach it with something fresh and new. Then I think it's okay. But just rehashing old things, I want to say, yeah, a lot of people say that they're over it, but the reality of it, people still go and they see these things. But so I do think it's a problem. Don't get me wrong, but it's not enough to ruin a memory of mine. I'm a fan of these things for a particular reason that I hold dear to my heart, and it doesn't matter the amount of crap Star Wars or Marvel or DC will ever put out that will ruin my childhood or or the aspects of the things that I loved about those franchises. This is not possible because I'm a fan of these things. So yeah. Um, Peg C. I just want to wish you guys a happy new year. Question: what are your thoughts on the potential names of the Power Rangers reboot? Look, I'm excited for them. I hope that they are going to be great. I hope that they're killing it in the auditions. I kind of dig the idea of no names, or at least people with not a lot of name recognition, I should say. So we'll see. But I really don't have you know, anything bad to say about it. I'm just excited that the casting process is underway.
Yeah. I remember I was watching the red carpet premiere or watching clips from the red carpet premiere of Percy Jackson, and one of the main questions people kept asking the showrunners were, "So, what can you tell us about Power Rangers?" And someone asked the question that I would have asked, but of course they couldn't answer anything. They were like, "We can't say anything about it." But someone asked the question of, "Is this going to be a reboot or is it going to be in that same like main continuity of the original Power Rangers?" They didn't answer, obviously, but I'm just kind of like, I'm glad people have the same questions as me.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get to the heart of what Power Ranger fans really want to know,
Yeah.
With Sagat missing from the first Street Fighter movie coming out, do you think if successful, Sagat will be in the sequel? I think so. I mean, it's one of those things too, right? Where like the first Mortal Kombat movie missed on adding some characters, but now we get to a sequel, and now they get to opportunity to include other ones also. So I was always a big fan of Sagat from the Street Fighter video game. So yeah, I could potentially see him. I mean, if fans ask enough for him or bring him up, like where's Sagat sort of thing, then yeah, I think the creators would certainly pay attention to that and maybe include him for sure, and maybe some other names that aren't necessarily listed. Um, Playmate Toys will be losing TMNT toy license at the end of 2026, and in a nearly 40-year partnership that started in 1988 with manufacturing sales rights ceasing after December 31st of next year, and or of this year, and inventory clearance finishing 90 days later, marking a major shift for the toy company and the TMNT brand as a license goes to new hands for future products. Who do you want to get to see get a hold of the TMNT toy license?
Honestly, because it's the only toy company I really know of, probably Hasbro, but and not only just because like not because like I think Hasbro is like the best when it comes to making toys, but because they also do tend to license their own properties out to other people. Like they've been doing that with Power Rangers for a while. So I think that like if they were to have TMNT, they could rent out the license to like other companies to make their own like TMNT like figurines as well. So I'd go with Hasbro.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with. I mean, is Playmates like under a particular brand? Do you
I
know?
don't know.
Um, Let me see. Yeah, Playmates Toys is a well-known one. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with toy brands currently these days. Yeah, Hasbro's name is listed on here. Fisher Price. I think that's kind of kiddie though. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, let's just go with Hasbro. Um, Jessica Fryman, do you think we could get a fifth Kung Fu Panda one day? And you think if Batman Beyond had gotten a fourth season, Terry could have gotten his own Robin and Batgirl? And would you like to see Simpsons and Bob's Burger crossover episode one day? I don't know how Kung Fu Panda ended. Um, I have never really watched Kung Fu Panda before, but the movie made 548 million.
Wait. You haven't seen any of the Kung Fu Panda movies?
No, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so like as for Kung Fu Panda 5, I don't see it happening because like 4 was not well loved by people. I haven't seen the fourth movie.
Really? It made a ton of money.
Really?
No?
4 did?
Yeah, it says Kung Fu Panda $548 million worldwide.
Huh, that's okay. That's actually kind of surprising. But okay, maybe I should give this movie a watch. But regardless, the first
I
oh
mean,
my gosh.
granted, that doesn't mean it's a good movie though. It
Oh
just
yeah,
made a lot
true.
of money.
Box office doesn't, yeah, I mean, yeah, good movie. But regardless, you gotta watch the first two Kung Fu Panda movies. Those two
Okay.
movies are incredible. I thought third one was just okay, not bad. I actually would say it's very much like the How to Train Your Dragon and Shrek trilogy. You have two really good ones, and then the third, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, to round out
All
the
right.
trilogy.
Rotten Tomatoes does have Kung Fu Panda 4 with 71% critics and 84% audience. So give it a shot, Stuart. You might like
Yeah.
it. Um, do you think Batman Beyond fourth season, Terry could have gotten his own Robin and Batgirl?
Yeah, I think that if it kept going, they would have eventually introduced more sidekicks, and then honestly, they probably would have eventually they probably would have had their own like new future Justice League team formed because we already got like the
Ooh,
Justice League in a couple of episodes. So I could see Terry actually joining the Justice League at some point.
I dig that. Um, would you like to see Simpsons and Bob's Burgers crossover?
That would I think that could work for like an episode. I'd be curious to see what they would do with that. Um Fun fact I learned about Bob's Burgers though. Apparently it was originally going to be a show kind of like with a Sweeney Todd type of premise where they were going to be making the burgers out of people. So it was going to be like a cannibal kind of cartoon. But I guess what stopped them from doing that is one of the producers like at Fox asked them, so can you make this joke funny for more than 2 seasons? And they thought about it, and so it's like it would have been great as like a mini series, but they were thinking longevity, the joke would have just gotten old.
um, let's see here. Who else do we got? Alex. What's up, Alex? What do you think of this theory? The internet often speculates about Peter McAllister's, Kevin's dad, mysterious profession. as his family somehow afforded a huge Chicago home and constant international travel, leading to the hilarious fan theory that he was secretly a wealthy figure. Actor John Hurd also played the rich, indulgent father, Warren Vandergeld, in White Chicks, who spoiled his antagonistic daughters, Heather and Megan. Could Vandergeld's immense and perhaps illicit wealth be the real source of the McAllisters' luxurious lifestyle and why he always seems so stressed in Home Alone?
Wait, so like he has a secondary life?
Family? Is that what? Yeah, it sounds like he's saying. Uh, yeah, so he said John Hurd, the actor, also played the rich, indulgent father, Warren Vandergeld. So he's saying that he's stressed because of his antagonistic daughters, Heather and Megan, when he comes back to his second family, the McAllisters. He's playing a dual life. He's so rich, he's playing a dual life.
Oh my gosh. I have never heard
I've
this
never
theory
heard that.
before, but like I dig it. Sure, why not? It's canon now. You have it here, folks.
Yeah, Peter McAllister had two families. That's all.
I love it when people take like properties that are not like meant to be connected, and then they try to find that connective tissue. Like there was the whole thing with Drake and Josh and iCarly, and because like they have two actors from Drake and Josh in iCarly, specifically the actor that played Crazy Steve plays Carly's brother, and then the actress that plays Megan in the original Drake and Josh plays Carly. So the theory that fans came up with was that like Crazy Steve kidnapped Megan and then indoctrinated her into thinking that she was his sister or something like that, because that seemed like something Crazy Steve would actually do.
I never heard that before, but that's pretty dope, actually. It also kind of like maybe Peter McAllister's so rich that like, you know how authors sometimes like don't go by their real names as the names on the books, right? Like it's like they have a completely different name. Like maybe he's so rich that he can afford the idea of changing his name also to that other gentleman, Warren Vandergeld. Like maybe that's just his rich name that he goes by. And he's got a whole nother side to him. Who knows? What do you guys, and this is from Nathaniel. What do you guys think of the new What do you guys think of the new season? 10 years after the original series finale, Spartacus War of the Damned, Spartacus House of Asher returned to explore an alternate history where the antagonist Asher survived, featuring a pivotal cameo by Lucy Lawless as an illusion of her character Lucetria. The premiere was met with excitement from original stars like Liam McIntyre and Manu Bennett, who shared their positive reaction on social media. But there's this new trend of what if continuations for beloved shows dilute their original impact, or does it offer a truly fresh perspective for fans? I've never watched the Spartacus stuff, so I can't really give my fair assessment on if it worked out or not. But the idea of like exploring an alternate history, does this new trend of what if continuations for beloved shows dilute their original impact, or does it offer a fresh perspective for the fans?
I think it just depends on the intention of the show being made. If you're making this what if because you actually have a good story to tell, then yeah, I do think it enriches the world. But I think if you're doing it because like you were hired to do it as a job because the studio wanted money, it's very likely it's going to dilute, like he said, it was going to dilute the how did he forward it again? He said it would
dilute the show's original impact.
Yeah, like I could kind of see both. Yeah, I think it just kind of comes down to the purpose behind the what if spinoff. Because yeah, I've never seen Spartacus, so I definitely can't speak for it one way or another.
Yeah, but I agree with you there. My friends call me Joseph. Happy New Year's, guys. If the X-Men were to finally be introduced in the MCU, should they feature an entirely new cast and be firmly established on the main Earth 616 to allow for fresh storytelling and seamless integration with the existing heroes? While nostalgic cameos from previous film actors are fun for the multiverse, a definitive new team on the main MCU Earth would be the most effective way to establish their long-term importance. Um, I'm all for an entirely new cast at this point. I do think that if we do get a soft reboot, I think coming out of something like Secret Wars, if we do sort of soft reboot Earth 616, we know one of the changes could be that that mutants have existed here for years and have sort of that built-in resentment from humanity, certainly towards them. Like that could be uh, a new ruffle in the history of the MCU Earth 616 that would have been a little bit harder to implement had you just introduced the X-Men without no prior sort of persecution from humanity. So I do think a soft reboot of After Secret Wars here on Earth 616 to be the added history of the persecution of mutants would be interesting one. Um, but I would love to see fresh new cast members. Like the rumors going around right now of like Hugh Jackman coming back again after Secret Wars, um, as like a mentor or something like that. Like I'm over it. Like I'm
Yeah.
over it. Like Hugh, I love you, brother. Like you've done so much for this franchise already. I don't need you back. Like and that's like with pure respect. Like I don't need you back. You've done your service. It's time to hang up the claws. But I need an entirely fresh new cast to take up this mantle. Like they have got to try and establish themselves without the help of other people because Hugh Jackman has just been around way too long. So yeah, I need an entirely new cast at this point.
Yeah, I'm definitely in an agreement with you. Yeah, like I don't mind the idea of them coming back for this really big Avengers movies, of course, but I
Yeah,
think that after that, I don't need any more Tobey Maguire or Hugh Jackman. I think like give them this like last hurrah, and then we're good.
yeah,
I will be honest though, like I also thought something kind of similar after Logan. Like I was like, okay, I don't think we ever need to see Hugh Jackman again because that was so perfect. But then Deadpool and Wolverine had a really cool pitch, and I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with Wolverine coming back for this one. But so that being said, though, I think that for now, I'm done with all the nostalgia bait when it comes to like Marvel characters we've seen before. So I'd be cool with them like just kind of being done after this, at least for a while. Like I'm sure like 10 years from now, someone will have like this amazing story that they want to tell that has to involve bringing back these characters. And if that's the case, go for it. But for now, we don't need them.
yeah. Most talented man in the world. Peter discovers a portal to a dimension where everything is narrated by an overly enthusiastic British gentleman who describes Peter's every mundane action, such as, and now Peter Griffin, a man of simple pleasures, is adjusting his ill-fitted trousers with a surprising amount of vigor. Why does Quagmire's chin have a small, almost imperceptible dent that only appears when he says the word giggity? I don't know what to tell you. Most talented man in the world. But I wouldn't mind an episode of like a British man describing Peter Griffin's actions. That sounds actually pretty fun.
like a whole I can't remember if they've done it before because I've seen this parodied so many times where it'll be like Malcolm McDowell or some really big British actor, and they'll just use like a random episode to just like have them sit in front of a fire in like a really fancy robe and have it be like them narrating the
Their
episode.
story. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like I think I'm thinking of South Park in particular, where it was like the most hated episode, but they had Malcolm McDowell narrating the Pym episode. Sorry, not Pimp. That's very different. Pym, the British kid from the earlier seasons that like Matt Stone and Trey Parker hated.
Um And then Doomsday, last set of questions here from Doomsday. I had asked Adam this the other week, but I also wanted to hear Stewart's side. If Cosmic Fury had used the Q Ranger suits, which
Ooh.
of the Dino Fury Rangers do you think would fit each color?
Oh, that is a good question. Let
And
me
are there any legendary rangers you believe could fill the remaining color positions? Yeah, I had to pull up an image of Q Ranger to see
yeah.
who all the colors were, and then the cast of Dino Fury. But yeah, who would you fit in each color? And are there any legendary rangers you believe could fit in the remaining color positions?
Okay, so let's go with all right, I think shoot, now I have to also bring up Dino Fury because I can't remember all of their names at this moment. Da, 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 da. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we'll start with Zato. Zato, I think I'm going to be obvious here and give him the Red Ranger. Amelia. Actually, no, sorry, I take that back. With Zato, not not the original Red Ranger. He would be the Red Ranger that kind of that doesn't show up until like towards the end. I'd say he's kind of the sixth Ranger, even though he's like the 13th Ranger that appeared in the show. But yeah, so Zato would be that Red Ranger. Amelia would be the original Red Ranger because she becomes the Red Ranger. Ollie, we'll stick with him being blue. He'd be kind of a really cool wolf and everything. Ollie, and then let's see, Izzy. Okay, so something that would be funny, but would be like kind of a huge middle finger to her character is if she was the Pink Ranger, who is probably one of the girliest looking Power Rangers ever, even though Izzy was the character that said skirts aren't my thing and ripped her skirt off. So yeah, but I think that would be the funny one, but I think the more likely one would be the Green Chameleon Ranger. And
Hey
then
Stuart,
okay.
can you start over? Because I think we dropped. I think we dropped.
Oh, did
Can
we?
you start
Oh,
over?
okay.
Yeah, we dropped. Can
Yeah.
you start over?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So Zato as the kind of technically 13th Ranger, but you know, he's written as the 6th Ranger as like the other Red Ranger and Q Ranger. So Zato is him. Amelia as the Red Ranger. I'd go with Ollie as the Blue Ranger, and then Izzy as the Green Chameleon Ranger. I'd go with Javi. Would I keep him as the Black Ranger? You know what? I think yeah. For the most part, I'm keeping most of the colors the way they are. So Ollie would definitely be the Bull Black Ranger. And Ion. Oh man, who would he be? Because I would either have him as man, this one's no. You know what? I'm gonna go with because even though he was the Gold Ranger, I feel like Ion and I feel like for adapting Q Ranger, the Gold and Silver Ranger have to be like two best friends. And since we already know, since I already did Kato as the Red Ranger, I'm gonna go with Ion as the Orange Ranger. So now that leaves 4 Rangers remaining. Purple Ranger, definitely Billy, since he's already kind of the mentor. As for the who are 2 people that could be the Silver and Gold Ranger? Like it would have to be like a duo that's like already kind of established. Oh my gosh, no, we have any kind of 2 like I don't know if I'd go with the comedic relief characters that were established in Dino Fury, but we get comedic relief characters as the Gold and Silver Ranger because they were both like kind of a duo in Q Ranger as like kind of a comedic duo. So like I don't know, like you know what? I'm gonna be weird here and say give me Bulk and Skull as like the as the Gold and Silver Ranger or something along those lines. As for the Pink Ranger, you know what? For the Pink and Blue Ranger, I just realized the light Blue Ranger, not the regular Blue Ranger. You'd have to, I think their personalities would make the most sense if you had someone young playing them. So I would say, if there were any like, there were episodes in Dino Fury, I think, where they helped like kids out at some point. So if like basically call back to like any moments in the past couple of years where there were any kids that they inspired, I would have those two as the pink and blue ranger.
I like it, dude. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
A long answer because it's
You
just
did. No,
such a
you did
big
better.
team.
Yeah, it's a huge team. Let's see here. You also asked, I don't know if I'm just tripping out or something, but did they ever give an in-universe reason for the recast of Don Cheadle's Rodney in Iron Man 2 and Mark Ruffalo's Bruce in the Avengers? I honestly don't remember if they did or not. No,
Nope.
no, they just said, hey, I'm here. Let's move on. Pretty much.
In fact, something I thought was kind of funny in What If season 1 is that when we see Bruce Banner, it looks like they modeled his character in like a weird like hybrid of Mark Ruffalo and
Edward Norton?
Edward Norton. Yeah, it was still Mark Ruffalo's voice, but he did not look like Mark Ruffalo.
That's pretty funny. Do you believe in the whole Super Sentai is always superior to Power Rangers crap? Personally, I don't believe that because there have been numerous times where Power Ranger seasons has been just as good, if not better, than a Sentai counterpart.
I think some seasons of Sentai are better than some seasons of Power Rangers for sure, but I don't think it's overall objectively superior. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I think RPM is better than what was it called? The weird season that they adapted.
It's like Go-Onger?
Go-Onger or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that Go-Kaiger was like amazing compared to Megaforce.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's always superior to Power Rangers, but I kind of think majority of the time that it is. But that's not to say that they haven't been just as good, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, I think you give a great example, especially with like RPM and stuff. And I don't know, I'm curious how people would feel about like Turbo, with that being a comedic factor, if they appreciated it more than the comedic factor of the original. I'm kind of curious too. But yeah, maybe like the older stuff, like is In Space better than what it was adapted from? That's such a great show. I'm kind of curious. So I wouldn't say always, but I would probably maybe say majority of the time. But I don't want to say always. But who knows? Johnny, hey Adam, have you heard about the potential new Power Ranger cast for Power Ranger Reboot? And one of them is from a Disney Channel series. Yeah, I was thinking about you, Johnny, when Sean Dixon's name came up. I was thinking, I'm pretty sure Johnny probably has actually watched this show before. So yeah, if you are familiar with Sean Dixon, definitely let us know, because I feel like you probably would be. Hey, Night of OA coming through. We appreciate you coming through. Happy Sunday. Always great to cap off the week with some Power Rangers discussions. Oh yeah, absolutely. Night of OA coming over us from comicbook.com. Appreciate it, man. Vampirina is kind of awesome. My daughter loves it, he says. Yeah, I haven't watched it. But I with you talking about it, and I know Johnny's love for some Disney Channel shows, I might have to give it a watch and just see who Sean Dixon really is in the show. But I appreciate you chiming in today, Night of OA. Thank you. We even got Tony Robinson in the house. What's up, Adam and Stuart? Good to see you guys. Thank you so much, man. We got some the cameos today. Have been great on today's channel, man. Night of OA coming through along with Crystal Kyber. We appreciate you guys. Tony Robinson did drop a couple questions here too. Casting for how Hasbro Power Ranger series are ongoing. So how excited are you guys about it? I'm actually pretty excited about it. Like anytime we get brand new news for Power Rangers Reboot, I'm here for it, honestly. I like the idea that it's more tangible now that the process is moving along. This doesn't feel like they're gonna pull the rug from under us. Like, hey, we told you something was working, but we decided not to. Good luck in seeing who the rights are gonna go to next. It is like we're not playing games anymore. Like, whether or not it's gonna be good, who certainly knows. But I think new Power Rangers is good for everybody, and I think this franchise needs a kick in the ass and a great reboot for 2026. So I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely agree.
Yeah, for sure. Could you guys see Diana popping up in Superman Man of Tomorrow and Bruce showing up in Clayface? There's a part of me that still thinks, no, you know what? I don't, you know, I will say, I think there's more of a, oh God, I want to say there's more of a chance of Batman popping up in Clayface than Wonder Woman popping up in Man of Tomorrow. But knowing me and my track record, it could be completely backwards. Um, I don't know, and I mean like in the sense of like a quick cameo, maybe not even revealing who the actor is, but just Batman and his cape and cowl as a terrifying presence in the show, maybe. Um, I don't know. This is something that tells me that they have already secretly cast for Batman. But I don't know, Stuart. What do you think? You think who's got the better chance of popping up? You think?
I'm gonna go with Bruce Wayne in Clayface. I man, can I tell you what I hope will happen? What I kind of think will happen?
Sure.
So what I think will happen is that it'll be a name drop, or we'll see him on the television, and we'll know about this beforehand before he makes his cameo. They're going to announce who they cast to play Bruce Wayne, and that'll be how we get introduced to our in-universe Batman. What I want to happen is zero news about it at all. I don't want to hear who's been cast as Batman. And I want our first introduction to the in universe Bruce Wayne to be that maybe we see him on a billboard for half a second, or maybe he's talking on the television, but they have a very specific actor playing him, one that people would definitely maybe recognize, maybe not as much as other actors, depending on who they get. But regardless, I want him to be established in the Clayface movie in such a lame, I don't know why. I just think that like introducing him in such an anticlimactic, or like just like the most generic kind of way of him just happening to be in the background, I think that would be kind of awesome.
I don't know why in my head I just think of like with them having inspiration from this Clayface being from the animated series. I don't know how involved. I don't know if I want my Batman fully involved. I don't even know if I want him as like the final boss, like in the final act. But I don't know. I just want him to pop up um on the top of a rooftop and similar to how we see him introduced in the animated series, like a bolt of lightning
Yeah.
or a flash of a storm or something, and then you see his silhouette standing on the thing, like this imposing figure standing over the night of Gotham. I don't know. Something like that would really work for me, but who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. Always a chance for Dan to pop up in Man of Tomorrow. And then lastly, with the success and of Stranger Things and the It Welcome to Derry series, do you see other studios investing in coming of age stories again? I personally think it would be smart. And I only think because, we always have new, young, and up and coming generations. And I think those generations always need a good coming of age stories. And they always tend to be really good if they're done really well. I think it's also like not just for up and coming generations, but I think also from a nostalgia standpoint, because I think we grew up on a lot of coming of age stories, and whether we were kids once or we have kids now, sort of thing. I think those stories are always kind of really appealing and relatable. So yeah, I hope that they continue to do more stories again like that. But yeah, other than that, guys, I think that is all the questions for live viewer questions today. So thank you everybody that certainly participated. I was able to. I'm glad I refreshed the page to get some of those last minute questions in there, guys. So thank you so much. And again, all of our guests, I didn't ask them to pop up today. This wasn't like planned, but the idea of Crystal coming through and Night of OA certainly coming through is really means a lot, especially at the beginning of the new year like this to kick off Hero Report for the remainder of the year. Hopefully, we have some really great changes headed your way here this year, guys. And again, despite Stuart not going to be here for the remainder of January, he will be back in February. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about it off air. But if you guys love this space, if you love my perspective and my charming personality, please come back for the rest of January. I would appreciate it. But a lot of things certainly headed your guys' way, and we'll see. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll have a couple of guest co-hosts in the meantime. So I'll keep you guys posted. But 22 Vola, the thunderstorm generator. I don't know what the, maybe he's talking about Peg C. Peg C said Mega Ranger was based on video games. I don't know if the thunderstorm generator has anything to do with it, or where that comes from. But hey, you know what? Appreciate the view in the comment. 22. Thank you so much. If anybody knows a reference, please let us know in the chat. But yeah, that will do it for all of our live viewer questions and portion of the show. Stuart, any final things that we should say wrapping up before we go?
Just that, like, again, I'll just let everyone know one more time. Yeah, it's been it's a great run, and please note, I am not leaving APlus Hero Report. I am just taking a break for this month, everyone. So I will definitely be coming back in February. But yeah, I'll get into this. I'll get into, like, as we're doing our outros, where you can find me in the meantime. But yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you do on your TikTok page. And look, you're always welcome to post on the Hero Report TikTok page. Also, we got like 3,000 subscribers over there. A couple things I would like to try and start doing more going into 2026. I do want to focus more on my report cards for movies. I've kind of fallen off a little bit about them, but I do think the TikTok format actually might be really great for report cards and brief reviews on movies that I see. You talked about in 2026 you want to see more movies, one movie a week. This year total, I have seen 41 movies in theaters.
Nice.
41 movies in theaters. Thank you so much, AMC, to the Stubbs A-list program that's allowed me to go ahead and see that many movies. Had a great experience. Hopefully to another 40 plus this year. We'll see. But yeah, guys. Also, again, tomorrow, Stranger Things series finale spoiler discussion with you guys. I want to give people the entire weekend to try and watch the episode if they haven't done so yet. So feel free to join us tomorrow night. And then afterwards, Stuart and I will be recording our top 5 movies of 2025, and we'll post them later on in the week for you guys. So much more content certainly headed your guys' way this week. Stuart, if real quick, 22 says, have you guys watched it? Welcome to Derry. What did you think about it, Stuart?
Oh, I loved Welcome to Derry. I went into it with low expectations because, again, I wasn't a fan of It Chapter 2 or The Flash. So when Andy Muschietti wanted to come back for this, I didn't have that much hope. But I was glad to be proven wrong. I thought Welcome to Derry was kind of fantastic. So I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, I really love the way that the series itself was really structured. I mean, the first episode alone, I think, really traumatized us enough to come back for more in a crazy ass way. But I think each episode just continued to build upon itself to a really great few last, like, just really amazing sort of episodes. The child characters alone were really enjoyable to kind of see their growth and their story arcs and stuff and their relationships with one another. And while I had my issues with some of the special effects in certain episodes, especially particularly the cemetery scene where they're running away from sometimes not all the time, but sometimes the special effects didn't necessarily work for me. But the season finale, like, I can tell that's where they put all their budget. I mean, it looked seamless, a very cinematic sort of experience. And it even makes me want to go back and rewatch It Chapters 1 and 2. And I just loved all the connected pieces. I thought it was a marvelous show. But yeah, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. But yeah, highly recommend it if you guys have not had the opportunity to watch it yet.
Once Welcome to Derry season 3 comes out, my plan is to rewatch season 2, season 1, and then It Chapters 1 and 2.
That's probably pretty smart, just from a timeline perspective. It probably would hit completely differently watching it in that way, shape, or form. But we'll see. But all right, guys, that will do it for us here today at APlus Hero Report. We'll certainly see you guys next time. Oh, Stuart, if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at TurboStew01, both on TikTok and Instagram and on Letterboxd, all of which I do hope to be posting a lot more frequently this month, starting tomorrow.
And if you want to find us on social media, right over here at TikTok on Hero Reports, and then everywhere else on social media at APlus Opinions. Mostly we post a lot on our Facebook page if you want to follow us there. That's where we keep you up to date on all the news throughout the week, news articles, first look images, posters, trailers, behind the scenes stuff. We keep you up to date all week. And then we take 6 topics from there and we talk about them here on our YouTube channel live every Sunday for you guys at 11 a.m. Central Time. But that will do it for us here, guys. Until next time, do us a big favor as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.